Wait, it's just one ant.
Yeah, boy. Big puny.
Puny? Say, let's pretend this grain is a puny little ant. Did that hurt?
Nope.
Well, how about this one? Are you kidding? How about this? You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. Resist!
Good day, one and all.
Hello, my lovelies.
All right, girls.
Grand risings.
How y'all doing? Oh, yeah, it is. It's early AM for you, isn't it, Sarah? For real.
Yeah.
Wherever you are on this international flat plane of existence, good day, good afternoon, good evening, middle of the night, whatever time it is. Hello,
Welcome.
darlings.
Greetings.
Happy Freaky
Yeah.
Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Freaky Friday, man. Do you like the title, guys? Freaky Friday, Free Will Frenzy.
Say that again. Say it again, Rich. Hold on.
Freaky
Slowly
Friday,
for
Free
me.
Will
Slowly for
Frenzy.
me. It's a bit of a tongue twister, Rich.
Frenzy. You got to say it 5 times fast.
Freaky Friday, Free Will
Frenzy.
Frenzy. Yeah, that's a lot.
Right?
We're all certainly, if we're not actually achieved it yet, we're all certainly aspiring to be sovereign beings in control of our in control of our own lives and in control of our own money and wealth and everything. And that was the inspiration for the title of today's show. But we've got a few things we want to talk about today. I don't know where we should start.
Where should we start? Where should we start, Rich?
Should we start
Sarah?
about getting ourselves into our tribes, into our free, sovereign communities that we were talking about and how we're going to do this?
I'd like to start there. Yeah, I think that's a good place to start. I think there's a lot of people that, for whatever reason, on their pursuit of truth, are looking into this right about now. And admittedly, everyone's at different stages, as we've already said on the show. There's a lot of people that, for many different reasons, are at different stages. But I do feel that there's a bit of a genuine general consensus at the moment that the system isn't serving people. There's a lot of people that are now looking into this because of the rates of inflation with the fuel bills, gas, electric, water, council tax. There's a lot of penny pinching things that are going on at the moment where people are going, well, hold on. How does this actually service me? Things that they weren't previously awake to, that they're now stumbling across this and going, right, I need some usable information. Where am I supposed to look? So, yeah, I'm glad to be here having this conversation.
And what you said, Rox, like everybody's on their different stages and everything. That was illustrated yesterday when we were watching Alpha Vedic, weren't we, Sarah? And towards the end of the stream, or a good hour or so in, he said, Mike said that it had only been recently that he'd sort of come across the true meaning of apocalypse. And the apocalypse means unveiling. It means the unveiling of what is hidden. But he's
and it was also like the seeking of knowledge, I believe, too. Or it was yes.
So you know, it was, and I said to Sarah, "What is it? No way! 7 years ago I found that information. You know." And it shows we're all on different stages. We're picking up different bits of information along the way, and it's completely random and unique to each individual, really, what they're picking up and when.
Exactly, which is why I think we're so important. We're all different puzzle pieces, and how we all have our place in this truther community. like Cam is unveiling a lot of hidden history in Antiquitech, along with Bernie, who's also showing us all these alchemy experiments and making us realize our capabilities in that avenue. But Bernie and I both didn't come from the flat Earth. We still had some learning to do as far as our science with that and breaking that down. But that's why I love it that we all can talk about this and say, yeah, maybe we're not going to put a label on it, but at the end of the day, we can all go, yeah, that doesn't make sense. And neither does that. And neither does that. So what can we do from here now? Right.
Yeah. And it's important to accept that not one of us is getting all of it right at all. We're quite a lot of us are probably getting quite a lot of it wrong, completely wrong still. But
and that's being humble.
Don't chuck the baby out with the bathwater kind of thing.
Exactly.
Like, everybody's got something, and maybe if they haven't even shown it yet, they might not have even shown it yet. They might not have even had the opportunity to share it yet, because they might not even know what it is. They might not know what it is that they're going to share that's going to be fundamental and extremely important to how how we move forward.
That's a very good point.
So yeah, I mean, just thinking about the stream on Sunday, and the comments that were made, people, some people think they know more than others about things. We all do. I think I know more than some people about some things, and other people know more things, than me. And we've all got our little specialist area. And yeah, I mean, maybe what Bernie's doing isn't conventional. It's not done in the conventional way, but he's getting results, and they're proving to be good as well. Like he showed us his garden where he'd been pouring the colloidal silver water. He'd been pouring it in his garden, and you could clearly see that everywhere that he poured that water, the plants grew bigger.
And that's the one thing too, is if you
Sorry.
Exactly. And so not is he only proving it, but he actually does discuss all the different methods. He gets into those details and explains why he's doing it his method, and maybe why that isn't the method. And if you connected, he's experimented with a lot of different things. And then he told us a story where he realized that he was a little bit in over his head and he needed to take a step back. And it's something that he wants to experiment with again, but he wants to approach it in a different way.
When he was messing around with lead. When he was messing around with lead.
Yeah.
But so yeah, we're all on this path. We're all on this adventure. I think it's an adventure, man. It's a pretty cool adventure, and we've just got to be careful not to. It goes back to getting triggered and stuff, and being too. Don't be too sure about the things that you're sure about as well. Really, don't be too sure about the things that you're sure about, because it's not.
Yeah.
Nothing the way you think.
So I was just going to say, how many things have broken down on a daily basis for us? Something that we were sure we had set, right? And then it's like, no, really? They did what? It was sort of like, even though you had told me about Russell Brand, I couldn't believe it. And then come to find out, I didn't even realize this. He actually did an interview with this Russell Brand. There's a photo of him kissing Harari, Klaus Schwab's advisor. And he actually did an interview with him. Wait, there's a picture of him kissing all of them? What?
No, he's good friends with the World Economic Forum. He's good friends with Sadhguru, the fucking fake guru that's out there. Go on, carry on. You carry on saying what you're saying.
No. This is good, and this is exactly what I'm feeling. And you're saying, and I think, okay, so you guys, the other thing too that I think is really good to talk about is our gut feeling. So sometimes I think we're not always in tune, and so we're not always aware of where the signals are coming from. So like with Russell Brand, I think I was getting hypnotized by him because I think he was doing tactics like Callum has talked about. Now that I understand that better, so that it was making me feel a certain way about him, even though his intentions really at the end of the day, if I really broke it down, I wasn't setting my boundaries with him, because my boundaries with him is, if you're going to have a bunch of money, you have a responsibility, in my opinion, in this current world, if you're going to buy into it, if you're going to engage and pull all these people, suck them into, right? And then be like, well, I might meditate with you here and there on a stage, and I'm going to charge you a bunch of money for it. But really, I have a ton of money over here. I really don't need this. I could really do like a way bigger thing. I could really help people, and I'm just not, you know? So it's like, if I'm going to scrutinize Trump as much as I do, then I have to scrutinize Russell Brand as much as I do, right? But anyway, it's just interesting. We need to, I think, listen to other people, because you might then get cued into certain wording that makes you realize, wait a second, oh crap! So that feeling I was actually having it was skewed, and now I realize this person isn't really quite what I thought. But you can be humble about it in the process, and it doesn't. And I also still want to think the best of everybody, and hope that people would wake up or see the truth. But we can't always lead every single horse to the water, even when we want.
And even if you can, you can't make them
right?
drink, right? Exactly.
Yep.
That's it.
Yep.
That's it.
You want to help everybody, but you'll end up. Yep. Anyway, go on.
So, sorry, I'm just reading the comments. We just give a shout out. Just give us a quick shout out to the chat room, because we need to stay on top of that, don't we? JP, good to see you, man.
Hey, JP, thank you for always coming in my chat. I really appreciate you.
Yeah. Who are we? It was Ross's birthday on Tuesday.
Oh, happy birthday! And this comment is
happy birthday to you, belated. Happy birthday to you, belated. Happy birthday, belated.
Belated.
That was really cute. That was really cute, Reverend. But Hugh's comment was hilarious. If you guys didn't read that joke, that was really funny.
Yeah.
And I relate to that.
Once extremely active.
I want to climb a mountain, though.
I'm happy to have always been a lazy bastard. I'll just paraphrase it. But yeah, Reverend Hull, as I say, Reverend Hull's been here since the beginning, man.
Yeah.
Reverend Hull's been around as long as I've been creative. He's been in my chat rooms and comments since 2017, I think. 2017, early 2018.
Wow.
I'm pretty sure that's how long it's been.
Thank you.
But YouTube, good to see you, mate. What's that V?
YouTube.
What does that mean?
YouTube.
What does the V mean?
Yeah, what does the V mean?
Vegan.
Oh yeah, it is like a V. That's like the V you get on menus, isn't it?
Yeah.
Are you vegan?
Brian,
are you vegan?
You're not made of meat, no. There's no animal products
Brian.
in YouTube. Brian, good to see you, man. And Kimmy.
Big love to you and Robert.
And the wonderful how you doing, babe?
Grand Rise is gorgeous.
Aww.
Love you, Em.
Oh, I love it. Rox has a very Matrix look this morning. Do you know what? Because
when you had the sunglasses on, put the sunglasses on again.
Oh yeah, I was thinking Matrix. Where am I going with that? Well, sorry, I probably should explain why I turned up like this.
We've been sat here for like a good hour or so, getting ready, sorting out what we're going to talk about. And Rox has been sat there like this, like, I can't see shit because the glare is.
My eyes literally look like piss holes in the snow.
And then right on cue, it's perfect. It's like whenever my dad put shorts on, if the sun was out and my dad put shorts on, it'd be gone again.
Yeah,
the sun
literally. As soon as I got the shades out, the sun went, and I was like, "Oh, right, don't need them now." So yeah, I just couldn't see the screen, couldn't see anything, no information, couldn't see Rich or Sarah. Definitely can't read any comments. So I thought, and I did say to him, I'm not really sure I like how that looks. I'm not really sure I like the look, but it's the practical. Thanks, Sarah. Cheers, darling. Yeah. You see,
I think I got a little more of the Matrix glasses going here.
Hey, mine.
Hello, my darling.
Those are my like the little ones. I just thought
I'm glad to say I don't need them now.
alone.
I really didn't want to squint. I
Right?
just wanted to be able to look at the screen properly. Thank you, my darling.
Oh,
Thank you.
okay. So now we have Matrix 1, Matrix 2, and Matrix 3.
That's it. Brilliant.
So,
Thank
SS, not seen you before, but good to see you. Thank you for being here. Tree Dude, I still want
Hey,
to
Tree Dude.
find out if that is who I think it is, because even the logo actually reminds me of his Facebook logo. So I want to know if that is you. You know who you think I are. You know who I
you
think
know who
I
you
are.
think I are.
You know who I think you are. So, what? If
Yeah,
you
shout
are
out to the
who
chat
I
room.
think you
Honestly,
are,
big time.
he'll know.
It's a
He'll know if it is him. He'll know what my ex-wife is called. He'll know the name of
wow.
my
It's them
ex-wife.
ones there, really.
So,
Cool.
yeah. So if it is
So
him, then pop it in there.
it's a
But
Friday
yeah, anyway.
afternoon. For me, it's not normal to be on the show at this time of day. Ever. Never really a Friday afternoon show. So I am, for one, really glad to be here with you and Sarah, for one. But for all of you that have tuned in, big shout out to you that are tuning in. But even more of a massive even shout out for those of you that are in the chat room. You've managed to find the time, regardless of what you're doing today, to be in the chat room and interact the way you are. So again, massive love and respect for the time put in and energy put into the chat room. Big love for that.
Big time. You know how I feel about our community, and we can do this without having that energy and that love behind us. It's like you have, even if for whatever reason none of you decide you want to be a part of the future with the treehouse or whatever, there's no offense to that. We all need to go take our own journeys.
No.
But the fact that your energy is driving our creativeness and giving us that inspiration to talk about the subjects we're talking to really engage with each other, this is what it's all about. This is what gets me excited. So
hi Josephine,
awesome.
big love to you.
Yeah,
Hope
big
all is
love.
good and well with you. Big shout out to Dave Murphy as well. Big love to you both.
So,
thank you for being
this
here.
is the thing, right? We're not all gonna. There isn't just one tribe.
No.
Right? There's not just one tribe, and the tribes really, they're not very big. You might like, okay, so we're going to Martin's chat, and Martin will get 900 people in his chat, but only 20 of them will be chatting. Only 20 or 30 of them will be taking part in the
interacting and going back and forth. Yeah.
Right. So
yeah.
I'm sure there's people that are listening and watching that inside they really want to be part of it, but they're, for whatever reason, they're not. They're not ready to put themselves out there like that yet. But I mean, the point is, there's loads of tribes, but we're all on the same journey. We're all after the same thing. We all want the same things. Like, I don't think one of the tribes is a malevolent tribe that wants to steal everything off everybody else. We all want to see everything being given back to everybody. We want the power given back. We want the wealth given back. All the, everything, all our rights and everything.
Yeah. What we feel we can do, we're trying to empower you to do the same.
Yeah. And if you want to go and do it in your own tribe, you don't want to be part of this tribe and you want to be part of another tribe. It doesn't, it's like it's a community of tribes. We've got however many different representatives of different tribes in this chat,
Can I say something here before I forget to say it? Because there's a common narrative that is amongst a lot of people that are on their pursuit of truth, and a lot of people say, look, the longer this is all allowed to continue, this narrative, this world we live in, the less likely things will ever change. But I want to say there's always a polar opposite for everything, and I don't believe that it's ever too late. Right? I don't believe it's ever too late. I know that even if people have been idly sitting on the side, thinking that they want to do something about changing their life, thinking about coming together with people in a local way within their community, I think the flip side of this is that it's not too late. The longer this has been allowed to continue, the greater lesson we, all as brothers and sisters, have had to learn. And I feel that we've needed to be taught that lesson that we've had. And I feel that we've needed to be taught that lesson that we've had. And I feel that we've needed to be taught that lesson that we've had. And I feel that we've needed to be taught that lesson that we've had. And I feel that we've needed to be taught that lesson that we've had. And I feel that we've needed to be taught that lesson that we've had. And I feel that we've needed to be taught that lesson that we've had. And I feel that we've needed to be taught that lesson that we've had. And I feel that we've needed to be taught that lesson that we've had. And I feel that we've needed to be taught that lesson that we've had. And I feel that we've needed to be taught that lesson that we've had. And I feel that we've needed to be taught that lesson that we've had. And I feel that we've needed to be taught that lesson that we've had. And I feel that we've needed to be taught that lesson that we've had. And I feel that we've needed to be taught that lesson that we've had because generations that follow will not easily forget if we've sorely learnt this lesson the hard way and really had to dig ourselves out of it by coming together and unite. The truth, as we have already known, has been needed to be broadcast immediately, which is why a lot of us pre-Rona were already out there selflessly trying to get that out there to people, doing outreach, selflessly doing outreach. Hundreds and thousands of people were out across the world doing that pre-Rona, and they're still doing that now.
Some of them every week. Some of them are out there every
day.
week.
Every day for some.
Trinity, Trinity 4 is out there every week,
Yeah.
isn't he? Doing his own thing on the actually on the streets, trying to talk to people face to face. Everybody's got their different ways as well. You know, maybe you just talk to people at work. Maybe you just talk to people. You know, maybe it's you go out on the street and you do activism, or maybe you're online, or maybe you're on Facebook. You know, on YouTube or Facebook or Instagram or Twitter or wherever it is. But
I think the rate of progression that we're talking about, and I don't mean to cause any offense by saying pre-Rona, all right, because a lot of people, as I said, a lot of people were idly awake before their freedoms were taken away of them. So I think, you know, a lot of people can ask themselves, you know, how many lies have been revealed to us since the start of 2020? I think a lot of us can cast our minds back to the end of 2019, having thoughts and aspirations. But a lot of people that were already on their pursuit of truth felt that 2020 was going to give 2020 vision to a lot of things. A lot of things were going to come out. When the lies have been revealed, we've learned the truth, which has been a painful process for a lot of people to go through. Some people have become depressed. Some people have become very kind of self-isolated and brought themselves out of their social circles. We've all been able to handle it so far, regardless of how bad that journey has become, learning the things that we've learned. So whether it's the good, the bad, or the ugly, we've all got to face it and embrace it, and actually live it, which is what. And the reason I'm saying this, I just want to segue right back to what you originally said about coming together, and really trying to talk about multiple tribes of people coming together. You know what I mean? But that comes into living it. You know, if you all face it, embrace it, and live it, then you can't not but do that and live a different way off the back of knowing the truth. And obviously, you learn the truth when the lies are revealed, which isn't easy.
So,
it's not easy.
And this is one of the reasons why people aren't saying anything and they're being quiet, is because they don't know what's truth and what's lies. They've been trusting the information, the official information that they've been getting. They've been trusting it because it's been coming from supposed figures of authority, supposed learned figures, experts, scientists, doctors, and then people of authority in the government and that. And what we're watching right now, it's taken. I was actually surprised when I found out about it yesterday. I was like, wow, they've done that. So YouTube has walked back its restrictions in the community guidelines. All the things that me and Rox have been censored for, what I got deleted over, my channel got deleted for. We've been demonetized, censored, and deleted. And nothing we said was untrue. Everything we said was quoting official data, absolute 100% official data. There was no speculation. There was no fucking guessing. We gave you facts and we got deleted for it. And now they're saying we were right. We were right all along, the whole time. Every single thing we've told you on this show since 2020 has been correct. Every single thing that we've said on this show since 2020 pretty much has been proven up until this point. Has been proven. They've
and as we know, this has all been ingrained for such an incredibly long time, right? The current narrative that's in play right now has been in play for so long. It takes, as we all know, I'm preaching to the choir here right now. You all know this already, but it takes a long time to unbrainwash a large number of people in society, right? They've been brainwashed over many years. But look how we've been brainwashed, though. The way that we've been brainwashed is by the the enemy repeating the lies over and over and over and over. So the hard work begins when you realize you unbrainwash people by repeating the truth over and over and over and over, because that's how we got brainwashed in the first place, just spoon fed it 3 times a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Now, don't get me started on Santa Claus bringing the lies in the home. I've already said that. You've had us all around the dinner table, little Tilly and Billy. Mummy, I want a bike for Christmas, but I'm 11 years old and I kind of know Santa's BS, but I slightly want the bike and I'm not going to get the bike unless I still believe in Santa. So we're doing lists. They brought the lies into the home. They brought the mum and dad to the lies to the children. The Tooth Fairy, the Easter Bunny, Santa Claus. The list is endless.
No, I was thinking about this morning as well. It's not just, it's like in every aspect of our lives, they encouraged and even rewarded lying. So call my bluff. Do you remember that?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Call my bluff.
Mm-hmm.
A television game show about lying. Who's the best liar?
Basically, yeah.
Which
and
one
think
is
about on the opposite side of how they've pushed the fear with if you become a whistleblower, and how you're going to hurt families if you do this.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just about, shutting down injustice. It's actually about ruining lives. It's like they portrayed that, and they do that with movies. It's sort of like, making you feel sympathy for this. It's the Rich Kids documentary. He wanted you to feel like sympathy for what they had to go through. Oh, you poor thing. You grew up with a shit ton of money and you didn't understand why you got to ride in a carriage with horses.
Mm. Mm. Yeah. Oh, well, I mean, to be honest, that guy, what's his, Vanderbilt, wasn't he? He was one of the Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
And he was the one that, like, his parents,
the one that was really disturbed, right?
They were, and they were the ones that had told him that they were poor. His whole life he was told, like, when he was growing up, he's poor. No, we're poor. And then he went to the library with his friends, and his friends were looking in the Forbes top 500, and there's his dad. And he's like, oh, look, that's your dad. And then everybody was like, oh, wow, your dad's one of the richest men in the world. Like, he's in the Forbes top 500 list. And that was, I can imagine that would have been,
yeah, who knows, like
strange.
The psychological game that happens to them and like what they deal with when their parents aren't really receptive to them not understanding, or like, how many questions did those kids ask about, like, well, why don't you help this person? Why don't you help that person? You know what I mean? And the whole unraveling that goes with that. Well, clearly that happened with Jamie Johnson, because you saw his story where he, 10 years later after this documentary, he seems like he's still on the same path, comes out with another documentary. There's a weird blip in there where he's working with, I forget her name now, but Buffett, was it Warren Buffett's daughter?
Warren Buffett's daughter or something, wasn't it? Yeah.
And then she disowns him, but then all of a sudden his whole career path flips back, and now he's into fashion, and he's not talking about the 1%, and that
it's gone back into
this huge divide, and right, and so it's real. That's a very interesting story. I know we're kind of getting off topic here, but yeah.
So going back to how the constantly changing narrative. The thing about the truth is that if the truth's the truth, the narrative will never change, because it doesn't need to, because it's the truth. So if the narrative is constantly changing, it's not the bloody truth. And we've got the CDC have come out and given their new guidelines. YouTube have come out and given their new guidelines, where they're literally saying that you can't say that masks work now. You can't do that. Before, you couldn't say that masks didn't work, but now you can't say that masks do work. Before, you couldn't say that the jibby jab didn't work, but now you can't say it can work or does work. It's, so we're being shown in real time how they're constantly having to change what they're saying, because it just none of it makes any sense. And that should be giving people now the confidence and the authority to start speaking out. to actually, you know, don't be afraid of being cancelled and stuff. So okay, come on and get cancelled, and then start another channel, do it again, and just keep doing it, keep doing it. We've and there's ways of saying things without getting cancelled as well, but don't, like, people need to stop being afraid of being identified as, what's the word? What's the bloody word?
A CT?
CT. Critical thinker. Yeah. I mean, yeah, exactly.
Good job.
Don't be afraid. Like, in fact, be proud to be a critical thinker. Show everybody that you're critical thinking.
Yeah.
Bear with me. I just need to get a juice. Am I right to just be excused for a second, lovelies? Is that all right?
Go for it.
Of course.
Yep. I'll be right back.
Yeah, go on. Sorry.
I forgot what I was going to say. Thanks a lot. It was something to do with the CT thing, like related to one thing you were saying before too, that I just wanted to comment on too, is that, you know, what you guys were, as far as the guidelines were, what you guys, you know, fought against for the last few years, and now all of a sudden it's like this veil's been lifted. Well, I think it's because you continued to push it, you continued to put your face out there, which is the exact reason that made me motivated to say, you know what, like, I'm putting a lot on the line by putting my face out here. I'm risking my current setup.
You're putting way more on the line than I am.
But I knew that, and I kind of knew that as like a means to a change, that this was part of my motivation to push forward. Now, I don't necessarily think everybody wants to or needs to necessarily be doing this exactly, but what is it? You know, I've been asking people. It was really sad to me, actually, to be honest. I asked somebody, you know, if you could do absolutely anything right now, if there were no limitations and like it was just that door open right now, what would you do? It was trying to encourage them to see like they're capable of doing their own, running their own show. And it's not as much work as we, you know, I think we put on ourselves to think. We don't need to have a multi-million-dollar corporation to be successful, and we put that on ourselves. It's like we actually could be successful whittling wood in a cabin, and maybe you're the type of person that's cool with a compost toilet, because I could do it. You know what I'm saying? And so that's success to you. Whereas to somebody else, it could be a little different. It could be like doing some sort of mad scientist type experiments and spending the majority of your time doing that. But you know, whatever it is, find your passion and start going for it. And is that going to include being part of a tribe?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that anybody that's seeking, bear with me 1 second. Who's at my door, Anna?
Gotcha. I'm going to mute him real quick. Oh, Canito's upset. Such a sweet little guy. Hey, Jason, what's up? I'll say hi to the chat while we're waiting here, because I know there's some people. Hey, Three Fingers. I said hi to Kimmy. Hey, Morgan, what's up? How you doing? Tony Martin. Guy Fox. Hello. I muted you, Richie, because Kanito was going to town. Do I have to unmute you? There we go. You're unmuted. Oh, perfect timing.
Oh, that wasn't Kanito. Yeah, that wasn't Kanito. That was I think that was Roma outside. But yeah, the landlord was just at my door.
Oh, okay.
So it's wiped my mind. Yeah, carry on. Give me a sec.
What did I miss?
Just continuing to talk about, we were talking about the guidelines again, but I kind of went into this about sort of figuring out, maybe like I've talked about this before, but us all sort of working towards what your goal is. Like, where do you want to be? What do you know, what would you, if you could do anything right now, if the door was just open right now, what would you go do? And sometimes it's not that simple. Sometimes it's actually, I think for some of us, it's things that present itself, and then all of a sudden you go, oh wow, that's exactly the avenue I imagined. I just didn't see it before. You know what I mean?
I think if I had the choice to do anything, and the door just opened up for me to do anything, I would be an advocate for getting people to move to a parallel reality where they're not in the matrix system and born into slavery.
Exactly.
The same way we all have been for so very, very long. So yeah, that's the efficacy of things is what's really become very, very apparent to me with everything I'm doing in life.
Yes.
What are the ethics behind it? And as you know, you even have primitively people going, "Oh yeah, we should all be driving electric cars. We should all be driving electric cars." Yeah,
Do you know what I
should all
noticed?
be, and make sure they don't flick us over to digital. Make sure you still use cash. And it's like, do you realize what you're saying? You can't be saying that to me. How do we make the car batteries? What do we mine to get things for these? Like who's mining this
Exactly.
stuff? Like, so
Free
then
energy.
people say, don't stop using cash. Oh, that's great. Let's advocate for fiat currency, the thing that's kept us in slavery for all this time. That's great again. So again, it's just there's so many things that as you start to realize these things on your pursuit of truth, you realize that things that you were previously vouching for, you're now not vouching for anymore. So yeah, for me.
But the what about the things that you're still vouching for and you don't realize you're still vouching for them?
Yeah.
So, like with the cash thing, how many of us, I still do it, use our bank cards to pay in the shop? When you go in the shop and you use your bank card because it's easier. I actually worked out that using my bank card saved me money because the story, you break in, it used to be if you break into a fiver, it'd go, and then it was if you break into the £10 note, that would disappear, then 20, then it got up to if you broke into a 50, it would be gone. And now it doesn't matter what cash it is in your pocket, I don't think it'll disappear pretty quickly. But yeah, I found I was saving money using the card. I mean, the cards they're a really good idea for that, to keep an eye on exactly how much you're spending, but it's playing right into their hands.
Yeah.
Well, then there's all the fees that they get you at some point too, right?
I mean, sorry, I got a freaking hair stuck in my beard somewhere, and it's on my lip. I can't get it. Roxanne sent me a thing. Was it on Telegram? I can't remember.
Might have been.
I'm gonna say.
Sent a lot of things everywhere. I need to kind of home it all into one space.
Sometimes you can't, right? I've been overloaded with energy lately, though. I've had to disengage. So I've been appreciative because I haven't been looking for it as much. So when you send things, it's like, oh, I didn't, thank you.
It's all right.
So this is from NatWest Bank. It's a thing stuck outside, stuck on there. Stuck on their shop window kind of thing. Where's it bloody gone?
They're taking it out. That's hilarious.
It's gone.
It's gone. I can't get into my phone while we're on the show, unfortunately, so I can't help.
The trouble is, we've got WhatsApp, Signal, and Telegram. So it's on one of them.
It's okay. We can see if we can find it. Maybe.
Yeah, I'm just going to find it. But basically, what it's saying is, that's really annoying. Where the hell has that gone? What they're basically saying is, NatWest are really keen to stop fraud and everything. So I hope you don't mind, but when you make a cash withdrawal, we're going to ask you what it's for. And we might even ask you to provide proof of what you're paying for, why you've withdrawn that money.
Yeah.
Like, sorry, excuse me?
Yeah.
You what? If I walked into a bank and the fucking bank teller asked me, so what are you spending this money on, sir? I'd be like, you want to check yourself, love. Go and take yourself out the back and fucking have a word with yourself. None of your fucking business. None of your fucking business. Do one. What I mean, yeah. That's because they want to track every single purchase made, which brings us back to the the World Economic Forum.
Somebody just said, admitted, Amazon is now like openly saying they're tracking your purchases, and we already know this with the AI technology. Yeah. It's gotten to the point now where, and I can't remember who was talking about this, but they're telepathically determining what you're looking for, what you need. And there's been reports of them messing with the prices on Amazon, where somebody will say out loud to somebody, I really need this. They'll have lost it, it'll have broken or something, and the price will just be skyrocketed, and then they'll just decide to wait and check back later, and the price is.
Do you remember? Down. I remember even back in the 90s, the late 90s, early 2000s. See, when you used to go and book flights online, see, as soon as the search engine had clocked what you're looking for, if you go to refresh or go back, the prices will just go up automatically.
Yeah.
I do you remember that.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah. So it's just we're now how many years down the road, and as we already know with our pursuit of truth, the technology was already out there. They've just stunted it being introduced.
Yeah, and they were doing and they were doing this to the. I think, as far as I understand, they were doing this with the Chinese culture early on too. Because they were implementing so much technology, they were just doing the surveillance at an early time. They've been doing that for a long, long time. And also, you guys, I think, know that they were forcing Chinese workers to pay extra if they chose not to work for like a corporation that was manufacturing for Walmart, to live in these 300 square foot apartments with, four people in their family. So yeah, this has been going on for a long time.
Yeah, shout out to Guy Fawkes. I mean, that's a valid point. What if the nation turned around and said to their councils and governments, "Can we have receipts for everything you're spending money on, please?" Do you want to give us a quick breakdown? And
the thing is,
while you're at it, wear that NASCAR jacket with all the people who sponsor you, please.
Yeah.
Right.
And people seem to, because we've been tricked into believing that we're the bottom. We're at the bottom. We're we're just the nobodies. We're the nobodies. We don't matter. Nothing. It's all about these guys, these big movers and shakers, and we just got to trust what they're doing.
Well, that's why they've done that with so many institutions, Rich. Who have they taught us to trust the most? We could be here for half an hour going through all the institutions that we've all been just told to trust.
It's like that study that was done. That study that was done that they would never have been allowed to do had they actually said that they were going to do it, but they did it in a school where they took two classes, two different classes, and in one class, a guy came in just dressed in a hoodie, just wearing normal clothes, just like just like me, came in and basically raised the alarm and said, "Shit, there's a bomb, everybody get under the desk, everybody get under the desk." And all the kids just sat there staring at him. Not one of the kids got under the desk. In a different classroom, they did it with a guy wearing a suit, and all the kids dove under the desk straight away, because we are taught subconsciously that people in suits, people that wear a suit and tie, are trustworthy, or they have authority, that they're
pecking
to
order.
Be looked to. It's this pecking order thing. It's basically a uniform for somebody to wear. It's like when you go to court. If you go to court, I've turned up down the pub years ago when I used to drink. I turned up down the pub and I was wearing my suit. And like, whoa, fucking hell, whistling suit. Someone been to court? Because you want to you go and present yourself properly in court, and to put yourself on a par with everybody else, that's all professional. You wear a suit and a tie. It's just more subconscious programming, basically, to make sure that we keep keep in line, we step in
Yeah.
line. But it all goes back. I mean, it's gone back much further than this, but this would be where they really started implementing it. So after they've had their the American Revolution, the American Civil War, then the
But now they just do it under the
Russian
cover, don't they? They
Revolution.
have their black projects, don't they, Rich? Brian Evans, he says a lot of money goes into black projects. Kevin says the
Yeah.
super wealthy don't pay for anything. The way the rigged system's been made, they create loopholes and pay for nothing, the scum.
Right.
And it is
Well,
the case, the Paris Accord, all the accords, all the slush funds. Go on.
This basically, should we just watch it?
Yeah, I think we should.
Right.
Yeah,
it's
I'll get their link out, but this is another big shout out to Alpha Vedic. If you guys have not checked them out, I highly recommend you go over there. These guys are talking about all these alternative topics. They've actually interviewed quite a few same people they've done with Archaics and Amanda Vollmer. They did an interview with her quite some time ago. So I'll put that link in the... Oh, you're putting the link to the video. I'll put a link to the channel too, just in case.
Yeah, that's a link to the video.
Sorry, can I just say something as well? Kimmy, do you know how many Kimmy Spreadbury in the chat room? She just said something. I can't see the chat room now, so I can't read it out.
Never worked for me, she said.
Right, yeah. And do you know what? I learned more in that one day coming down to see you and Robert than I'd learned in a lifetime. And the one thing that really stayed with me that day, Kimmy, was when Robert said, the system hasn't affected me because I haven't allowed the system to do so. And to me, Kimmy, that was one of the most profound things in my whole life that had ever been said to me. But shout out to Kimmy, because she is someone that practices what she preaches. She definitely is. Wonderful woman. Massive love and respect to you, and thanks for being in the chat room. But yeah, just as I said that, just as I read that, I just thought of that, and I thought, there, but for the grace of God goes Kimmy and her partner living the life that they lived, and you're living proof of it, Kimmy. So
I think it's a very important point as well, because there's a lot of us who we're only being affected as much as we allow ourselves to be affected. They're not affecting us the way they want to, because we're not like normal people. We don't have normal habits. We're not one of these, because we've already shifted out of that. We've already shifted out of their paradigms. So we're like, who was it I was watching? Jacob Israel, I think it was, I was watching, and his experience, there's only little things that are touching him and affecting him, but the majority of stuff that seems to be affecting all these other people isn't really affecting him. And I wonder just how much of that is about standing in your truth and being steadfast, and you just don't let it. You don't let the system fuck with you. There's certain things that happen that we just can't help, that trigger frustration and anger and stuff. But I mean, since the lockdowns began, to be honest, it hasn't really affected me. I mean, obviously it has with the work, but as far as the lifestyle is concerned, hasn't really made much of a difference to my life. I've been a recluse for a while. I've been locked away in my room on my computer researching for the last 9 years. So it's not, I've my social life and all that shit all went out the window a long time ago. But we're in a place where the system is going to, even Kimmy, the system is going to be affecting you now, like, because of the cost of fuel, because of the cost of gas, because of the cost of food. Even if you're a multimillionaire, you're still paying 3-4 times as much as you were 3 years ago. So we've got obviously we've got a certain amount of control over how much it affects us, how much we allow it to affect us. And that goes back to saying what I was saying, what I've said so many times before about staying cool, just keeping you cool, no matter what they do, no matter what they throw at us. Don't get angry, don't lash out, don't spew hate, and because that's what they want. That's exactly what they want. They want us sat there seething, crying, shouting, snapping. And so long as we don't let that, let them achieve that, they can do whatever they want. Like you can, you've got to express your anger. You've got to express your frustration, but don't allow it to stay with you. Express it and let it go. Like, rah, pff, let it go. Don't let it keep bringing you down and fucking your day up, because that's what they want. That's exactly what they want. So should we go? We'll go to this video, right? As we said, this is Mike Winner and Dr. Bear Lando of Alpha Vedic, and Dr. Bear Lando has gone through this document that came from the World Economic Forum meeting in 1954, was it? Or 59?
Yeah, I think it was 54.
And he checked it and double checked it. He's assured us that it is it's legit. It is the document. But what he's done is he's actually he's made a presentation. He's made a slideshow presentation, but all the information that he's put on here, he's taken direct from this document. So this will tell you, this is going to explain why they've done what they've done and how they've done it, and just confirm it as well. Confirm that this is what they've done, and it also shows just how much power we have, because all of this is misdirection. It's all about distracting us. Look over here, look over here, look over here. While they're getting on with something over here. They're stealing everything that we're making. Look over here. Yeah, go, just make this stuff, make this stuff. Look over here, look here, look here. Worry about this, worry about that. And all the time they're shoveling all the wealth that's coming from us, they're pocketing.
Great.
We're more together than we thought.
Well, that gave me some space to give some context here for the folks who are new to all this.
Perfect. So the doctrine adopted by the policy committee of the Bilderberg Group during its first known meeting in 1954. This is where this document emanates. The control of the masses through manipulation of industry, people's pastimes, education, and political leanings. It called for a quiet revolution, putting brother against brother and diverting the public's attention from what is really going on. So that's the intention of this entire, it's actually a mathematical formula, and we delved pretty deep into it over the weekend, although we won't have time to do that today. A quiet war using subjective biological warfare. Now, that should have some extra meaning. We'll talk in code here for the morons at YouTube. And, you know, in light of events of the last couple years, you know, this is really bringing more into light as far as where they've led us by way of this document so far. So there's three intentions, strategies, and weaponry. The intentions: the elite's solution for world problems. The strategies: the worldwide engineering of social control via slavery and genocide. The weaponry: the implementation of social automation systems, silent weapons. The historical origins, operations research. a strategic and tactical methodology developed under military management in England during World War II. The original purpose of operations research was to study the strategic and tactical problems of air and land defense with the objective of effective use of limited military resources against foreign enemies. And guess who the foreign enemies are? Okay, the requirement.
Yeah, and Bear,
Go
I'd
ahead,
love
Mike.
I'd love to touch on the foreign enemies stuff too. I assume maybe you because that's kind of not in this right here on the silent weapons for quiet wars, but it's something Marcia talks a lot about. So I assume we'll talk about that after in terms of okay.
And comment anytime.
Sure.
The requirements: a high-speed computerized data processing system to race ahead of the society and predict when society would arrive for capitulation. So in other words, built into this whole system was the means to predict very accurately when society was ready for another level of subjugation and the implementation of all the controls when the society at large would then accept them. Because I'll tell you right now, what's going on in the public would not have been accepted for 5 minutes back, let's just say when I was a kid. People would have revolted.
Or when I was a kid.
But now we are accepting it. And that is because it is being implemented according to their ability to monitor when the population has been sufficiently subdued to do so. Now, let's just look at computer revolution. We started with relay computers. I did a little bit of that in grad school, where I had to take my data and go do punch cards and, walk over to the main building and run these kind of archaic programs. The electronic computer, invented in 1946. Then the next level of evolution was the simplex method of linear programming in 1947. And in 1948, transistors allowed the reducing of space and power requirements. So with these three inventions under their direction, those in positions of power strongly suspected that it was possible for them to control the whole world with a push of a button. The Rockefeller Foundation made a 4-year grant to Harvard College, funding the Harvard Economic Research Project for the study of the structure of the American economy. 1 year later, in 1949, the United States Air Force joined in. And, the Air Force is probably the most sinister arm of the military. They're the folks that are actually behind spraying us like bugs right now in the sky, but another story. So,
and well, I was just going to say, of course, I first read this in 2001 with Bill Cooper's famous book, Behold a Pale Horse. The first 2 chapters are essentially this. And then what's interesting is when we're talking about the computing stuff that was needed, I believe, and it's been a long time since I read the book and I need to read it again, but doesn't he essentially say it was from the archonic gray aliens or something that we got this technology from, which is interesting. So this ties in sort of an otherworldly sort of demonic Luciferian, potentially, depending on what your take is on the alien stuff, the UFO stuff, with this sort of agenda of using this technology against consciousness.
Yes, interdimensionals. And the interdimensionals, we don't want to confuse that with the Luciferian. And I get the typical connotation of Luciferian, but actually it was an incarnation in Asia long, long ago that was greatly influential in the Asian culture. And what it led to was the practices of seeking out-of-body experience as a way to unify with the divine. And we're going to see that there's some problems with that. Now, when you get into more Western anthroposophical understanding, Rudolf Steiner, of course, introduced us to another interdimensional by the name of Ahriman, who would bring us into the other polar extreme, which is complete materialism and the destruction of any connection with the divine, period. So you have these two opposing polarities. And of course, there's certain interdimensionals that are some working in favor of mankind and some really working against. So within certain communities and different religious communities, I know there's a great propensity to lump everything under certain terminologies with really not understanding what's going on other dimensions, what's happening historically, and that it's not all synonymous with the devil. It is up to us to come into the middle way, the Tao, what the Nazarene taught us, even what some cultures in Asia taught us, which is the middle way, which is between the two polarity extremes. And we'll talk about that later on. So currency, the key to all activity on Earth. The currency, of course, we're talking about electrical terms, and it's not lost on anybody at this point as far as why our monetary systems are called currency, because money is a way to harness our electronics, our innate energy systems, and use them against us, or at very least put certain people in the middleman position so that they can profit off everything we do. Now, natural science, the study of the sources and control of natural energy. Pretty straightforward. Social science, theoretically expressed as economics, is the study of the sources and control of social energy. Natural and social science are both bookkeeping systems, and mathematics is the primary energy science.
You broke up for a second. You broke up for a second there. So for those listening on the podcast, natural and social science both are bookkeeping systems.
Okay. And it also explains why mathematics has become the primary language of scientism, and also, of course, the language of social bookkeeping or economics. Control is maintained if the public can be kept ignorant of the methodology of the bookkeeping. And of course, Marcia Ann went into great detail about the creation of two-sided bookkeeping, where you have debits and credits, and how one side is usually stiffed on the rest of us. And then one party, the elites, get to enjoy the credits that are created by us. Okay, number 3, science is merely a means to an end. The means is knowledge, the end is control. 4, only one issue remains: who will be the beneficiary? And we talked a lot in our workshop about trust as an extension of natural law. The original trust was between us and our creator, and us as a collective of the creator, and that we are the beneficiaries of the trustee, the creator, who allowed us to have the gift of free will to create as we wish. Now, of course, with the artificial middleman, they have placed themselves in the position of beneficiary, trustee, actually all 3 positions, which in trust law, including natural law, is breaking the law. You can't do that, but that's in fact what they do. Okay, so want to hit the next one, Mike?
Yeah. And we talked a lot about how they can do this and how they get away with that. And really, they're not getting away with anything. That's not how the universal laws work, right? You have the universal law of polarity, the universal law of rhythm, for instance. And so when they push against the polarity and essentially try to hack the laws, the creator will, or just the divine system, will balance out in the end. So there's a constant sort of, that's why there's wars, right? That's why all this stuff happens.
Welcome to 2022.
The masses own weakness, our own sins, our own, which is just without knowledge, with our folks' own willingness to, or sort of our addiction to our own destruction. And so that's why they have the television. They're telling their vision to us, or tell live vision, so that we essentially contract
should
with them.
play your
so
clip
that
real
they
quick.
maintain the polarity because we are going along with them, even if it's through ignorance or weakness or through sloth or.
Sorry, we should play a clip.
You should play that clip that you made real quick. We loaded it, right? I thought we did.
The TV one.
Do you know which clip? Yep, I got it. Ready?
The truth is hidden in plain sight, right in our faces. Tell our vision. Tell a lie to your vision. You've heard of spiritualists channeling entities. You're on your TV every day channeling programs. Fear programming. That's all the news is there to do, is to program you with fear. Daytime television is there to help reinforce social programming. The signals put your brain into a theta brainwave state, where your brain is on autopilot, taking in all the information that your conscious mind is missing. Ever heard of subliminal programming? In this theta brain state, only 5% of your brain is conscious, 95% is unconscious and being subliminally programmed.
Do you want to know what it is?
You know, another good clip for us to have handy with that one would be the, oh my God, not into space what it was, but it was a clip the one that we did with Callum and talking about where you said, you know, when they think they're in alpha, they're really in theta, because what's theta, everybody?
Oh yeah,
Flight or
I
fight.
haven't dug that clip out yet, but we were talking about the alpha. It was with Callum talking about the alpha mind, the alpha male. So
Yeah,
I said that the alpha male is in a constant state of fight, basically. You know, it's a fight or flight, but to stay in that state, the fight or flight brain state is the beta brain state. So if you think you're an alpha male, you're being all aggressive and confrontational because you're in a fight or flight state of mind. You're a beta male. You're not alpha. There's nothing alpha about you. You're a beta. So yeah, I have to dig that out.
Avarice or jealousy and all of those, you know, those classic quote unquote sins.
And karma is indeed a bitch, as they say. All right. Economics. 3 energy concepts from the science of physical mechanics are applied. So they just take natural law, mechanical law, physics, and apply it to economics. Sorry, I felt the.
I was just gonna say I'm gonna name my next female dog Karma.
Great. So economic capacitance. We talk about capacitors and everything from ourselves and inorganic elements being capacitors in that they collect energy on the ground and relay energy. But they applied this to economics because they understood it's all about currency and stealing energy for themselves. So economic capacitance is capital, money, stock, inventory, investments in buildings and durables. So these are all the things that we give energy to and that they control. Economic conductance, goods, production flow coefficients. So like in any system of electronics, energy has to flow. Economic inductance, the services, it's the influence of the population of industry on output. So it constantly takes our involvement and our participation.
So is the idea with, because this, I actually reread this last night and fell asleep to it in the chair. It's thick. This is some thick stuff. So the conductance is like the wires, right? Is that correct? It's like the wires that conduct the energy, and then the inductance is sort of.
Sorry, I'm just going to say quickly. All right. So the three energy concepts of the science of physical mechanics applied. Really, it's electricity. They're talking about electricity. They're talking about power, charge. You know, it's the elements
just broken
of physics.
into three different. Yeah, just taking the same thing and breaking it down. Yeah,
but this is all about electricity. This is all about energy, capacitance, conductance, and inductance. That's all electric. So that sort of basically confirms what I've said about, you know, the flip. They've harnessed the energy that we create, and they've turned it into material products and stuff. The money and everything is all they've taken the free energy and flipped it. Right. So this free energy that we are creating, we create it. We create the life force energy that's going into this realm. And they've flipped that, materialized it, and that's how they're controlling us, because we have no perception of that, because we have no knowledge of it. We don't know what the fuck's going on. So through our ignorance, they've flipped it and materialized it.
The release, it's the loss of energy, or not? We know energy, you don't lose energy, but it's the release. It's the, is that right when they say output? I'm trying to relate this once again to kind of electricity.
Yeah, this is highly simplified, and it's also elaborated more in the paper. But if you want to get into a real electrical system, I might use some different terminology. I might talk about resistance, which is the velocity, the flow, which you might, loosely relate to inductance. The conductance is actually, in true electrical terms, is the amount of energy. And the capacitance, of course, is the ability to collect and distribute that energy. So if you can, I think I could I copied and pasted different parts as they were from the document, because I didn't want to bastardize it too much. I think I could rewrite this a lot better, but I understand
you're
exactly what they're talking about.
Because you have the ability to create, and the people that made this are just stealing this or taking these ideas. And of course, you could do better than them.
And
but capacitance, though, is so that's like, so is that the idea that is like potential? The potential?
That's stored energy.
Okay.
So, we work, we produce, and we put our creativity into creating money, species, stock, inventory, buildings, creating durables, as they say there. So those are all the storehouses of electricity. I would look at, if you're really trying to follow the laws of nature, there's a very simple formula that I talk about quite a bit. It's a system that I use in testing bodies as far as laboratory means, and then it would extrapolate the chemical findings in people's bodily fluids to energy, and we call that the line of least resistance. So if you were, and then following that, we would use different means within bioterrain medicine to create an efficient energy flow with little as possible loss of energy, which allows the body to start regenerating. And also, if everything was in a perfect line of least resistance, then it would actually create the inability to age at all. That sounds fantastical, but that's absolutely true. And through this equation that I would use in my laboratory medicine, you could even prove how the body could not age or have any malady whatsoever if it was in the perfect line of resistance. So if you applied that to society at large, the running of civilizations, economics, technology, you would literally create heaven on earth. We would have free energy. We would have all these things that have seemed so elusive, but have been right under our nose all the time.
Beautiful.
So next topic here, energy. The controllers looked toward two primary developments: the creation of the maser, which is what's basically making our communication possible right now, which is microwave amplification by stimulated emission of radiation. That happened in 1954. So we live in the world of microwaves, and of course they've been weaponized against us. We could talk a lot about that, and in fact we have talked a lot about that. The promise of unlocking unlimited sources of fusion atomic energy from heavy hydrogen. So with the economics and the energy and those factors we just discussed, this is what gave the controllers the confidence to achieve what they thought was possible. The consequent availability of unlimited social power was a possibility only decades away. In the interest of future world order, it was decided to privately wage a quiet war against the American public with an ultimate objective of permanently shifting the natural and social energy, wealth of the undisciplined and irresponsible many into the hands of the self-disciplined, responsible, and worthy few. In order to implement this objective, it was necessary to create secure and apply a new class of weapons so subtle and sophisticated in their principle of operation and public appearance as to earn for themselves the name silent weapons. Okay, we can move on. You're on mute there, Mike.
Okay. Yeah. Next slide.
Okay. So now we get a little bit more into the economics, and we're almost done here. You know, I purposely kept this short so we could just have a discussion about it. And the famous quote of Mayor Amschel Rothschild, "Give me control over a nation's currency, and I care not who makes its laws." So true.
And
So,
an important
go ahead.
distinction too. I think a lot of people get lost in the weeds here. The difference between currency and money. You know, typically they do almost all the same things, except money is an actual store of value, where currency traditionally was based on a fiat or something that could be manipulated and controlled. So it doesn't have the store of value. And that's the trick. That's what the Rothschilds were so good at, is they were able to use funny money, currency, to essentially catalyze corporation creation via ramping up. So basically tricking people into their currency, giving away the actual goods, the actual hard assets, or this currency that's supposed to appreciate in value. And then they essentially devalue the currency and steal all of this hard assets, land, actual people's creations. And that's how they've enriched themselves over the decades. So that's an important idea to understand currency versus money. Go ahead, Bear.
Yeah, and of course, that's why they had to take us off a standard of intrinsic value, because there's no way to insert themselves if we had a means of exchange with that commodity that we could hold in our hands that we all agreed had an intrinsic value, a real tangible asset. So biggest scam in the world. All right, apparent capital as paper inductor. This is great, apparent capital, so true. Currency deposit loan accounts induce people, which we call inductance, with people corresponding to a magnetic field, into surrendering their real wealth in exchange for a promise of greater wealth instead of real compensation. Second point, just kind of let this stuff sink in. If you want to get pissed off, that is. Real collateral exchanged for a loan of promissory notes issued in greater amount that banks could back with gold as a persuader to show customers. Created money scarcity to tighten controls and collect collateral through the obligation of contracts. And of course, we're going through another contraction as we speak, and this will probably be the most severe of all historically. Repeated money cycles to ignite wars with controlled availability of currency to determine the victor. Of course, countries like China have been greatly financed in recent times so that they could become the victor and the new military arm for the next phase of their hegemony. Final point, collection of debts guaranteed by economic aid to the enemy of the debtor. So the folks that are financed to do the service, to do the biddings of the controllers, are given the means to go after the debtor nations. In this case, we see this happening to Russia right now. And, every country has had its turn as far as being victimized by this exact system. Iraq, Libya, Venezuela, we could go on and on. And interestingly, a lot of these countries, in fact, all of them, have one common denominator, which is they were all resisting becoming part of the International Monetary Fund and wanted to have a sound and independent economy of their own, which is a no-no. Now, Michael, this last point, shock testing on what you were talking about, so maybe we can have you elaborate more, but let me just read it. First, created economic shocks interpreted theoretically by computers and psychoeconomic structure of the economy is thus discovered. So with all their computerized technology and everything that we see today, they manipulate us with shocks. In other words, shortages and so forth. Oh, now all of a sudden we have an energy shortage, we have a food shortage, and then they are
we have a virus breakout.
What this means psychologically, physically to the population at large, and then use that against us. Partial differential and difference matrices are discovered that define the family household and make possible its evaluation as an economic industry. Dissipative consumer structure. And finally, the response of the household to future shocks can be predicted and manipulated for a well-regulated society under the control of a sophisticated computer-regulated social energy bookkeeping system. We talked about that a little bit on the first page, where it had to do with them having a means to predict when we were ready for the next stage of capitulation to their control. So, Mike, any comments?
Well, I mean, and keep in mind, this was written, of course, and devised in the 40s, like I said before. So they've been able to really ramp this up due to the exponential growth of computing technology, and also, of course, integrating nanotech, integrating virtual reality, and everything included with what we have come to know now as the Great Reset, the metaverse, all of that. So let's now really see where they're going with this, which is we've seen in China already with the social credit system. Well, we're talking way beyond that, way beyond that. And social engineering to the point where they understand that thoughts are what create the money or the energy that is the law. So the more that they can tap into our thoughts preemptively before we even know what we're thinking and engineer us to think into their system, then they know that essentially they have been able to hack free will in almost in a weird way. So they have technology now, and I know this gets conspiratorial, but there's a lot of people that say, for instance, on their smartphone, not even speaking about something where they get an ad, but thinking about something and they see.
I'll just stop here because this is something that we've talked about.
We were just talking about, yeah.
We were just talking about it, about how it seems that they're able to read our minds. It does seem like it, because you don't always have to say anything, and an advert will come up on your phone. You know, Instagram will, and also an observation. Just what Roxanne was telling me about. Roxanne noticed when she was in a relationship with somebody, her phone, Instagram, would be suggesting, whatever to her. Her fella'd come and sit down next to her, and suddenly Instagram would be suggesting things that would be questionable to a partner. Like, why is that what you look at? Is that why are you all these guys in the gym, and vice versa for a girl? So Rock, a girl sits down, Rock sits down, and then glances over, and all the suggestions that are coming up on the other person's feed are adverts suggesting that you're not valued, you're not your partner doesn't think that it doesn't treat you right, and you're worth so much more, and dating agencies.
That's what we're all up against at the moment. Everyone's in an abusive relationship with their phone. A lot of people don't really want to admit it, and a lot of people think that we're blowing hot air saying things like this. But I'll tell you what, I'll tell you something. I'm not going to be specific. There's a particular bone in my body, particular bone in my body that really needs some help. I kid you not. It really needs some help. I don't talk about it. I don't even think about it too tough sometimes. But do you want to know the way my phone's evasively suggesting adverts to get it fixed?
Yeah.
So it's in my head. I know it's in my head. And not only that, it keeps on reaffirming that the only way I'll be truly happy is if I get it fixed.
Yeah.
It's the only way I'll be able to be. And my phone's, but then on the other hand, my phone's like, no, that you can boss this day. You can do anything, tap heart, and something good happen into it.
Oh my God! What about all those ones that you will receive 10,000.
Just save this sound.
Pounds if you
Oh my God!
Brilliant.
That's how they're
Brilliant.
targeting me.
But do you know what? Do you know what? I've had people say, yeah, but there's bare times that it's bang on, spot on, it's bang on. And I'm like, yeah, obviously it has to do that to lure you in, like a casino. It has to bring you into the table for you to sit down and think you're actually going to beat the house. You're not going to beat the house. Even if you're the best card counter in the room, you're not beating the house. Ultimately, the house will win.
Well, it's like if you've got 3 dice in your hand and you chuck them down enough times, eventually 3 sixes are going to come up.
Do you know what? I've got to say, I can't remember who said it now. It might have been Jimmy. Probably was Jimmy, Jimmy says outlandish things like this, so big up Jimmy. And sorry if it wasn't Jimmy. Could have been Carl. Could have been Joe. Big up all of them anyway. Who was it that said it? But yeah. Do you know, like, when you're at social events and everyone has their phones on the coffee table or the arm of the sofa or on the kitchen worktop? He said that he reckoned that he was just, spitballing. He reckoned that there was a proximity that phones need to be in order to have digital sex with each other, and he classed it as digital sex. He would be like, listen, it's even more if your mate says, "I'll hold my phone for me," and you go like that with the phones and put them together. He was like, the amount of data that gets exchanged with those phones when you do that is insane. And he almost proved it. That's why I'm trying to remember who it was. He was proving it. He was saying, "Oh, I've only known this person for so long, but our phones have been around each other, rare. This, that, and the other." Oh, if only I can remember who it was. Who was it? But he was adamant that phones were exchanging data and then using that data against the people that it had exchanged the data of. Am I making sense? Am I sounding like a little bit crazy? I don't know. But that's how it was, put to me. And I'm like, you know what? I've got a funny feeling this is true. You could be on the subway, you could be on the bus, the train, walking along the street. All of our phones are going each other all the time, past each other in the house, as you're getting in and out of your car, as you're getting on and off the bus. And the amount of suggestions people's phones, I mean, hopefully some of you are sharing it in the chat room as well. Has your phone evasively suggested something to you that you've thought about that day? You haven't necessarily said it, but all of a sudden all these sponsored posts start coming up. It could even be just something primitive. Maybe you thought about carrot cake on the way home, or maybe you thought about going to one of those little like those little forest retreats where you go in a little tiny cabin or something. You've thought about something, and then all of a sudden, and guess where else I've started clocking it happening as well? On the TV.
Yeah.
So you've got the smart TVs now. We've got smart TVs, and in between the shows that come up, whatever, the same kind of adverts that come on my phone are coming on the TV. They're very, very personal to us in the house. And there's times that Jess has looked at me like, huh? We were just in the kitchen saying that. And then the adverts come up. So, and I've experienced it a couple of times on digital radio in the car as well. When I've had I don't listen to BBC, but sometimes One Extra has been on in the car, and it'll do the same again. There's an advert that I've seen somewhere else, and then the verbal version of it will be on radio. And I'm like, how have you done that? You're just there. The adverts are just there all the time.
Yeah, Richie has got a VPN and it's with Singapore, so it's very interesting to see the kind of English speaking commercials they use to lure him
That's
in.
the most interesting thing is nearly all of their adverts are English speaking.
So it's like it's for an English speaking person living in Singapore, clearly, but like they're very much like, invest your money here, because they immediately assume you're like a wealthy businessman there being sleazy. I don't know for sure
I mean
what that's about, but
the amount of adverts for property for people, basically, would you like a passive income? Hey, buy a house in England because they're really cheap right now, and you can get a 4-bedroom detached house in Liverpool for like 10% of the cost of a 2-bed apartment condo in Singapore. It's like, or a two bed condo cost you 1.6 million, but a 4-bedroom detached house that you can start renting out straight away, and you don't even have to go to Liverpool. You don't have to get up out of your sofa. Just give it to this management company, and they'll collect all the income, deal with all the issues, deal with all the the issues with the tenants and everything. And you just sit there and rake in a passive income that you'll start receiving within 2 to 3 months.
That would be another fun experiment, is if everybody got VPNs and like we did it for different areas and we saw how the ads changed in that way. But it's very interesting because like from my end, my dad is very much into solar panels, and we get a ton of the solar panel ads through YouTube. And anyway, so it's obviously very directed. But I had a situation, and it was that we spoke it out. We said it out loud, me and my ex, but we were in the process of purchasing a bunch of tools for essential oils, and I was making kits and I was giving them away. And then I was considering starting my little side business with doing a bunch of the stuff. Anyway. And my ex said out loud, he goes, why can't I find, because he'd done all this research looking on all these websites, he's like, why can't I find a kit that has this, and this? It was like balm, spray, it was like all these different things in it, candle, with these types of oils at this price. And it was like, it was gross. He was playing a game or I think I was playing a game. That's what it was. He said it aloud. I was playing a game, and then an advert. When I used to play phone games, I don't play them anymore. I mean, I'm not trying to pride myself, but and the advert was like, bam, dead on, every effing thing to the cost, and it was like, what the hell? So it's just that's. I mean, but we just talked about this where Rock said this. Think about this. This kind of manipulation with us has been going on. Like when I was talking about the price manipulation, and she's like, "Yeah, don't you remember this? This was happening, or like when the internet first took off, and you could purchase plane tickets because that was something that was more common. I know, especially in the UK, I think you guys fly a lot more. I know in the trains too, but." In the
I
US,
remember my
like,
mum saying things like, oh, I've searched too many times now, and she had to get her friend to do it from their computer so that it wasn't recognising the search. It was a fresh search, but she knew what it was that she was looking for.
Especially with EasyJet. EasyJet, I noticed that with like a few years ago.
yeah.
I mean, it also works out like if you buy, like, so in EasyJet, if you buy your return flight, you'll pay 20 quid for the flight out, but fucking 120 quid for the flight back. But if you just buy the flight out and then buy the flight back when you get there, you'll pay 20 quid each way. It's the thing is, it would be so amazing, it would be so cool if the people behind it, if it was a benevolent system that really was trying to find you the best deal, that really was trying to help you, not something that was trying to cash in on you, not something that was trying to hook in.
See, and the system the system's been completely built to go against you in every form. Think about service fees; they constantly change. They come out of nowhere. They're never like defined. They'll throw it. Well, okay, here's the final price. It's like, wait. We discussed this price. Well, hold on. There's a cleaning fee. There's this, operator's fee. There's
hidden
this.
Costs.
Yep.
All the bloody hidden.
It's ridiculous.
Costs.
Absolutely ridiculous.
There's one more slide. There is one more slide that the last paragraph. I want people to read the last paragraph because it's
an ad pop up.
It's really.
So the question is, have they been able to tie in somehow into the electrical impulse of thought? I don't know. I know there is there's supposedly who we are, what we are, and why we are. And then, of course, yes, in the end, the goal is not to have this technology. The goal is to have the superior technology, which is us, the I am, the ability to psychically.
Or, a little bit more.
Well, maybe we missed it. It was the one with it's the paragraph.
It's the one that one I think is what it was, wasn't it?
Yeah,
I think we should listen to a little bit more anyway, though, because there's
I've just messed up where we were, but
that's close to where we were, but yeah.
So the consequent availability of unlimited social power was a possibility only decades away. In the interest of future world order, it was decided to wage a quiet war against the American public, with an ultimate objective of permanently shifting the natural and social energy, wealth, of the undisciplined and irresponsible many into the hands of the self-disciplined, responsible, and worthy. That's the word. That's the word that really fucking gets me in this. Like the all right, self-disciplined, I'll give you that. And you must be a bit responsible because you've managed to maintain all of this wealth and gather all of this wealth. But worthy, you worthy, really. These people think they're worthy of our wealth. We're not, but they are.
So next topic here, energy. The controllers looked toward two primary developments. And of course, we're going through.
We were at 113, I remember now.
We speak, and this will probably be the most severe of all.
So where have they gotten so far with this technology to essentially future shock households with all of their messaging? Well, we know it's you know, everywhere we look now in terms of the technology of the social engineering for the media and the apps and everything, from the TikToks to the demon flicks and all that. But how far they've gotten in terms on the psycho-spiritual side is an interesting question. So that being said, also they do in this document, Bear, they say the household is an industry unto itself, because the household is what is creating the future babies, right? The household is a manufacturing plant that is actually creating the core energetic. It's almost, think of it as like the Matrix movie where they have they're farming the humans for the energy. That's basically what this is. The households are they see them as sort of factories for farming new energy, which is then used to create the currency that runs the fake law.
So it has to be said, like what I see now is that since then they've destroyed the family. They're destroying the family. They're destroying what it is to be a woman. They're trying to control birth rates. They're trying to they're trying to depopulate now. They want to depopulate because the family was an institution that created stock for them, or rather, that created the machines.
The introduction of the nuclear family, you know, that was
So the introduction of the nuclear family was along the lines of still producing more workers to come out.
correct.
There, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was the whole point of the 2.4 children, was to every family pop out to working kids to pay tax and another money making machine. But now they're not. Now they've gone completely against that. So is that because they achieved what they wanted to achieve, and now we're surplus to requirement? Because they've got all the robots and the AI and the menial job tasks can be all the menial jobs and menial tasks can be covered by AI and robots. So now they don't need the menial workers anymore. They don't need the factory workers and the and whatnot, because the system is here now. It's created. They've got their little machine and it's working well. But if it's overpopulated, too many minds, too many new minds coming into it, is going to disrupt it.
The fictional law. So shock testing is obviously quite apparent now, when we just went through the whole CV thing, and now of course the whole Russia Ukraine theater is another example of shock testing. And of course, what they're doing in China, showing what their reaction right now to different quote unquote viruses, is all shock testing. It's all theater. It's all, in the end game is to see how we will react and how much of our power we will give to them.
Yeah, and I don't think it stretches the imagination to believe that they are not manipulating us on the subtle planes of electronics. Think for a moment, with the advent of what we think of as contemporary science, everything was predicated on the suppression of authentic science long ago. What the alchemists knew and so forth about the different electrical vectors emanating from the different planes and subplanes of reality, which starts with our own thoughts, filtering down to the astral, the etheric, and so forth, until they precipitate matter here on the ground, precipitate our very bodies. So since these, we'll just call them secret societies, were behind suppressing this information in the first place, is it really far-fetched to believe that maybe they kept some of this hidden for their own use? And since we now have technologies that are based on the crudest level of electricity, you know, the things that, you know, plug our devices into the walls and so forth, is it really that much of a stretch to believe that there are electronics capable of picking up those vectors from the next etheric plane and so far, and you know, also up the ladder there? Of course they're doing that. And even in conventional media, they give little hints as far as, oh, the next computer that's already developed doesn't even need a keyboard. You just interact with your thoughts. We've got Neuralink. We've got all these things that they're telling us right to our face. So of course, now even biblically, they, you know, long ago, I remember catechism and, you know, when I was a kid, they were talking about the final battle. They called it Armageddon. Would be fought on the mental plane. They knew that to control us, they had to harness our thoughts, because those are the progenitor forces that the Creator allows us to use according to our free will to create as co-creators. So in order to have ultimate control, they have to harness us on that level. And every bit of technology and everything we've talked about today is about just that. And when you see many, many people in our society and around the world that are part of the zombie apocalypse, and I don't know how else to put it, their thoughts are not their own. Absolutely not. And even a lot of the cutouts that are used, you know, as alleged positions of power, politicians and so forth, their thoughts are not their own. A lot of them have been intercepted, even more so than the general population. And that is why they do unspeakable things. Now, I purposely stopped with this PowerPoint. There's one more slide we can get into in a minute, but I stopped here just.
So it's a good place to stop it. The next slide that Dr. Bear brings up is about I am, and I want to talk to Mike and Bear about this because of what that means. As soon as you say I am, there is strength in those two words, in that there's something there, but I am is the ego, and I don't care what anybody
don't you
says.
think? Can I explain something? I think that would help though, to give them a little backstory on what they did. So they had a seminar this past weekend called I Am the Living Law. So that's part of where the I am came from. And I feel that where they did this as a group, as like a chant. Was it them that was also discussing Om as well, the significance and the history with Om? And I see Om as a little bit more.
Om is the individual,
but it's also balance. If you actually look into the mantra, it also means balance, which to me incorporates everybody. So I think it's, again, taking responsibility for yourself, which is really important, which a lot of us constantly put expectations on a group mentality instead of taking the stance and the ground in our own and then building a community from that. And the only reason I really wanted to stress that was because they did, again, chant it together as I am together. And they also tried to manifest together, which we've done little bits of that on the show. And I've noticed differences. And I wanted to say that too. Like I've been manifesting, like, if I have the ability to create whatever I want, then I want, what I first will usually say is I want balance, some sort of like peaceful balance throughout with everything. Good chaos, bad chaos, whatever is appropriate energy. That's what I want. Right. But then I might like focus on little things like I do always on my dog. I mean, she's 18 years old, and I say whatever is right for her, whatever she wants. But ultimately, please no suffering, only healing. Like just allow
no
for her
pain.
to
No pain,
pass
no
peacefully if
suffering.
that's what the path is, right? So anyway, what we were saying before that, but I think that's important to take away from this. I don't feel like that is their intention. And I
No.
agree with you, Richie, that again, the power of words, maybe that is an indoctrination and we need to question it. It's the same thing with Sherry questioning Robert, or why can I think Steiner? You know, we need, and what I was just going to say from that is just taking a little bit of truth drops from it. So again, the same thing with Alpha Vedic and what they did it as a group collective. They also did a manifestation. Maybe we would say it differently. We are, or we would say Om instead of I am, because Om takes on a lot more than just I am. Sorry, I really wanted to say that.
Yeah, that's what Bear was saying, wasn't it? Though there's the Om is the universal, and I am is the individual. It's the individual
And your light needs to
representation of-
shine to activate the grid, is how I see it.
Yeah.
Once you shine, you can then your little or will shoot out, and it will transfer to whoever else, who then could spark something for them then to also activate their light, and then again it's like a ricochet effect, which is what I think has happened. And you two are a huge part of that, which is what I was also saying before, is that all the work you did to stick through it, even though there were some lull points, and it seemed desperate at times because I think we're all there, but you continue to push not push the narrative, to push against the narrative, to make your voices heard, and to not put a cloak over your face, to keep going, which is important. With some of us do need to show our face. And again, like people in my types of positions, not to say that I'm, I'm not a doctor, but like Dr. Berlando speaking out and his history and his experience and being able to, that's the other thing really quick is that, I think I've said this before, but Dr. Berlando was trained as an MD. This is way back in the 70s. And he talks about how he witnessed very barbaric, activity, especially with birth. And how these doctors, like the nurses would do all the work and the doctors would come in and they get their gloves put on and they go back and have coffee and cigarettes in the break room. Like, oh, that was so hard, and we make all this right. And he was disgusted by it. So he actively sought out all alternative methods. He went to chiropractic school. He became an ND. He did it all. And he actually says now, don't get degrees. Don't get licenses. Yeah. It's all bullshit. We're going to create a new. They're kind of saying right now, get prepared, but we're going to be fine.
That's what we've been talking about, though, isn't it? With so for the Magic Treehouse, what we're going to want to actually, do treatments for people and stuff. But so how do you do that without becoming licensed? Well, a private members association, you can do it like that, and that's how Dr. Berlando did it. Creating a private members association, and then he was able to, on his land, he was able to do it without a license.
And that doesn't mean that, especially myself, and I feel Richie feels the same way, that we both don't want to immerse ourselves in as many educational opportunities as possible to learn techniques. And then to say, hey, I was trained with blah, 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 who does work in this and who has done this for X amount of years, because that's really what it should be about, is your years of experience. And maybe testimonial type, information that way.
Yeah. So, quick shout out to the chat room. Dive back in there. Thank you very much for being there, guys. 44 people watching. Lady Luke's, Rico's tinfoil sombrero. I love that. To join now, Alex, how you doing? Tree Dude, whoever you are. I still don't know.
Hello.
I am not him, but that is exactly what he would say. So That is
I'm not
exactly
him.
what he would say, man. I'm not him.
Not him.
Hashtag. That's exactly what he would say. So I do think it is actually him. I'm not going to dox him though.
Hello.
But yeah, Lady Luke's, Pushkin, Alex,
Good to
Gummy
see you
Bear.
guys. Hey, Alex.
Gummy Bear, man. How are you doing, bud? How are you doing, man? Because I know you've been in a lot of pain. I know you things have been uncomfortable for you, so I hope you're doing well. I hope everything's all right with you. Lionel Tartaria, Morgan, how you doing, man? He's back in Sweden. Back in Sweden, going out to buy some Swedish candy. What, like
Nice.
Milka? Milka, that's Swedish, isn't it? Or is it
I
Swiss?
think so.
Is Swedish fish a real candy there? I used to eat I used to be obsessed with Swedish fish. You know, I'm talking about the little, and they're like
little seashells.
They're gummy, but they're a little bit harder than
Oh.
a normal gummy, and they have like a coating on them. And they're, you know, in the U.S., they're probably just like injected with high fructose corn syrup, but they're just amazing. They're called Swedish fish. They're little gummy fish. I don't know why they're called that. I thought I heard they were like a Swedish candy, but maybe Morgan can enlighten us. It's like the weird thing Americans have. We have such weird traditions and weird, interesting candies. But so does China.
Actually, I'm going to ask you about that in a minute. When I want to finish shouting out chat room, Reverend Hull. Oh God, come on! Why isn't my bloody mouse working? Andrea's here. Hey, how you doing, Andrea? Hope you're all right.
Good to see you, lovely.
Good to see you all.
Brian Evans, good to see you, mate. Bodada and Shivites. Oh, and Coriander. I like
I like that.
I love that because I love
Brilliant.
the name in all formats. I love the color coriander, you know. This
That
is cool that she hears frequencies, so do I. Oh, but she's trained. Okay, interesting.
We're wearing earplugs.
Now, can she? What's interesting is that could she like detect the exact level that she's hearing roughly with the earphones? Is that kind of what you're getting at? Because that sounds fascinating to experiment with. And if you don't know coriander, I want to do frequency therapy. There's this whole bioneurofeedback thing, and there's like I want to do experiments with it. So that's really fascinating.
It's a really good introduction, actually, to this.
Oh yeah, show that. Oh, you can pop it out, Richie, so that you can see it like full screen.
Yeah. I think I have to press.
Shit. Is it not?
Where's the full screen?
Let me see if there's any chance I can do it.
There's no full screen there.
Oh, I can do it, Richie, but I don't get sound. So do me a favor, and
Why can you do it, but I can't? That's ridiculous.
You're in Chrome?
Yeah.
I'm in Firefox. And you use the same exact link that you sent me?
It's the link that you sent me.
You know what? You don't need the audio for this, so let me just share mine. It's just like music.
Yeah, we don't. I'll tell you what. Yeah, you do that. We don't need that audio because all it is a bloody soundtrack. So
see how much better that is. There we go. Oh, you know what I'm going to do though, so we can see this clearly is we'll temporarily take away the outline of the treehouse. Don't worry, it's coming back. Everybody, you know how much you love it. Okay, I'll let this loop because I'm playing it later.
War's a sign of the times. State of the world, death to the family, destroy the structure of morals, they poison us all. Right before our eyes, there are men manufacturing men. Let the cloning begin. Question is lit. Before we multiply and erase the DNA, extract the matches that attack us. How do you control a nation that was born without a soul? Humanity lost their mind. Desperate measures in an era of apparent parent failure. Kids rebelling, raising hell because they raise themselves. It's evident we need the God to help. It's really just a state of the issues with more than we can possibly imagine. It's war, religion, anarchy, abortion, even family divorce. Foreign policy, America, the home of the free. We've lost faith in all our unity. Gone are the neighborhoods, and now
So,
when it's all said and done, we'll be back to where we begun. Desolate, pestilence, earth will fall and leave no evidence.
So, if we go back, when it goes back to the beginning, we'll go through it. We'll just pause it.
You want me to hit play again?
Yeah, press play again, and then. So, is that the first one? No.
No, we're towards the first one though.
This has been brought up before a lot of times, but this is a nice little illustration of exactly how it's gone. So there we go. That Eiffel Tower. No, pause it.
Oh, sorry.
Start it again and pause it.
Let me see if you can. See, you can't with this one. You can't the way it's set up because I think it's a real.
Come out and set it. Just but go back and go back into it again, and it should start at the beginning. But
all right. Oh shit! Of course now. Okay, just you want me to start from the beginning, right?
Gang, I might need to just drag back out a little bit early. I've just been told my little man's football's been brought forward, so I've got to go and get little man and take him to football. But I'll try and chime back in from the car when I'm parked up. All right?
Okay, sweet. All Thanks, right. Rox.
Love, in a bit.
Appreciate you. Okay, almost there. There we go. Okay, so, now you want me to go...
18, let's just start there. 1889, the Eiffel Tower opens up. They understand radio waves the year later. I don't understand that, but yeah. Go on then.
Which radio waves are different than, obviously, than what we deal with...
radio waves are still electromagnetic waves, though.
Yes,
they're still electromagnetic waves. This is basically
no.
What's it called?
I want an ohm tattoo, so this immediately caught my eye. But are you serious? From what? Brandon from Incubus gave it to you, or it's from one of their albums?
What?
Sorry, I just saw that. I'm totally just sidetracked everything. He had a comment about a tattoo. I've had an ohm tattoo. I have no tattoos, and I've had an ohm tattoo design sitting, on the back shelf for forever because that has been so relevant to me, and now even more. But I don't know if I'm going to get one. But anyway, it's just so that caught my attention. But then I used to listen to Incubus too, and so that would be really cool if that's true. I don't even know if he's psyop or not. But okay. Back to the subject. Sorry.
First radio program broadcast in 1920. First long distance transmission 1906. 1918 to 1990. Spanish flu. H1N1 influenza. Pandemic. This was a pandemic. The next one. '79, 1G launched in Japan.
Car phones.
This is my dad. My dad got one of these car phones, a Motorola car phone with a battery that was the size of a small suitcase.
That overheated easily.
Weighed as much as a couple of bricks.
Yeah.
They were they were car phones. They were.
Yeah.
They were mobile phones, but they were car phones. Their first iteration was as a car phone, and you could slip it down in the side. There was put it down, and so you could get it all fitted in. You could get hands free and everything. So 1971 launches the analog, which is still electromagnetic frequency. Go on, press play. Oh look, a year later, influenza again. Each one coincides with, or there is a there's a massive outbreak, or they try to scare everybody into thinking that there's a big outbreak. I think I remember this cholera outbreak in the 90s, and then bird flu and swine flu and all the ones that they're going to talk about. You know, that they really tried to get everybody scared about it, but it didn't work. It didn't each time. They didn't work. You know, it was hit and miss.
I tried to unmute myself. Exactly. I just wanted to say something really quick. Rico, we're actually streaming on 3 channels. My channel, people sweetly go over to put little comments and say hi. And by the way, if I know you and you leave a comment, you'll become a moderator. But I'm more of a backup channel. The deal is that Rox's channel is the one right now with the largest amount of subscribers, and we just got hers hooked up officially so we could do lives. But Richie previously had about 5,000 followers on his 007 channel that was deleted by YouTube. So we're trying to rebuild it, and it's now the Magic Treehouse, which is really what we're trying to do. We're trying to kind of change up sort of the momentum here, and it's also his group that he started, and that's how I got to know him. But regardless, the Magic Treehouse is where a lot of us are in chat, because a lot of us from the actual group, the Goonies, are in there as well, and then just some of the old schoolers. So that link is in the chat, and it says it's actually defined as the chat hub is what we call it. So please feel free to come over, and there's no obligation for you to have to watch all of our streams. But some of you who are watching all 3 of our streams or keeping them going or whatever, that's super appreciated. You guys rock. The chat is awesome.
What?
So I just wanted to say that really quick.
I have to go in and activate each one because I forgot to do that, and then put them all on mute because I bloody forgot to do that.
I will. Roxanne isn't here right now, Rico, but I will post the link to the Magic Treehouse right now in Roxanne's channel. So just 1 second.
I was just going to say something, and it's just gone straight out of my head.
Because
again.
I just keep messing with you.
No.
Here's the chat hub, guys. Thank you. Thank you, Rico. Appreciate it. Sorry, we didn't say that sooner. I think we've said it before, but we should have reiterated that.
That's what I was going to say. If anybody's interested in joining the Magic Treehouse Signal group and becoming a Magic Treehouse Goonie, then follow the links in the contact links in the description. There's 2 email addresses in there, one for Sarah and one for me. If you just get in contact with us, I'll just tell you now, it's not oh, I want to be in the treehouse. Yeah, come on in the treehouse then. That's not what this treehouse is about. Because we need to trust everybody that comes in. And this ain't my first rodeo, and it ain't my first group. And we know what happens, especially with infiltrators and people just trying to disrupt. Either they've got some mission that they're on, or they're just little shits that just like to come in and disrupt. But I've done really well at stopping that from happening over the last 9 months, 10 months, whatever it is that the treehouse has been around, and we don't have a huge number of members as a result. We've only got like 29, 30 people, and probably only 6 or 7 of them are active. But yeah,
but we're just kind of in and out. There's like no pressure, but there's good information we share.
Yeah, and there's we definitely want anybody that thinks they're part of the tribe to come and introduce themselves and say, like, I want to be part of the tribe, man. I want to be part of your tribe. Like I said earlier at the beginning of the stream, we've got a whole bunch of different tribes, man. You got Cam's tribe and Martin's tribe, Paul's tribe, Andreas's tribe. We got if we call all of us each of these different YouTube creators, we're all different tribes. And you've got some people that are members of more than one tribe, and interact with more than one tribe. But anybody that wants to be part of our tribe, the Magic Treehouse tribe, and be a Magic Treehouse Goonie, please get in contact, and we can go about getting to know each other and see if you really are part of the tribe. But we definitely want, you know, as many people as belong, basically, and lots of people belong. Lots of people belong. Just
exactly. And the main thing with the treehouse is, Richie wants to talk to you face to face, like kind of like a little interview, but it's very casual. It's just that we want to be able to get to know you, because it's not about having as many people as possible. It's not about opening up a big Telegram group and just having everybody pour in. It's really about creating this community that we're really hoping. And not everybody in our tree, and not every Goonie right now is talking about jumping into our Treehouse Healing Center when we create it either, that's not a problem. But they are there to contribute in a positive and helpful way. They're there for each other. You know, a lot of us reach out independently to each other. So it's pretty cool. Just want to say that. Anyway, that's really cool, Rico, that he opened for Incubus and then got to meet Brandon that way, and he drew his tattoo. So that was the story behind that. Just wanted to.
His band opened, but he wasn't in the band.
But Brandon drew this design for him.
That was really cool, man.
That's very cool. That's
and
still a big
I'll
deal.
tell you what, dude, I should perform Drive to you, shouldn't I? That's one of my favorite songs, man. Incubus, Drive.
There's some good ones that brings back memories, but
because obviously I'm a musician.
You know, this is a good this is actually a great time, since I have that the one overlay down. I can put the other overlay up, and Richie has not asked me to do this by any means. Just want to make that very clear. But if you didn't already know, Richie had his equipment stolen, and this was actually in a weird sync with the same time that Rox had her car broken into. So they both did, and he had all of his equipment stolen, and he was able to previously play live on YouTube and actually take live requests.
Let me just So the thing about the cars was something different. That was something that happened before the equipment got taken. Both me and Rox did a show where we did. It was called Weed the People, where we interviewed a pharmacologist who had cured his dad and many others. Something of the big C. He cured his dad of the big C in his stomach. He had bowel big C, and so using RSO. And we did a show about it. He gave his testimony, and YouTube.
We're not promoting any cure-alls. That's just a YouTube thing.
Yeah, we're not promoting anything at all. But YouTube deleted it within a couple of hours. They deleted it, but they didn't just give us one strike. Neither of us had strikes. We were both on warnings, and they gave us both 2 strikes straight away. 2-week ban, 2 strikes, told that we were sharing malicious, misleading, dangerous information. And then the next day or a couple of days later, I think it was pretty much the next day or two, like we did the show on the Monday, and then like on the Wednesday, both me and Rox had our cars broken into and locked up again afterwards. My car was broken into, and everything that was on the floor was put on the seats. Everything that was on the seats was put on the floor. Everything that was in the glove box was taken out and strewn all over the car. I had a drone in there. I had my guitar. I had all of my equipment was in there, was in the back of the car. There was over 1,000 euros worth of stuff in my car. They didn't take any of it. They took a pair of new shoes, trainers that I bought, which cost me like 14 euros. They took a large, giant pack of sour Skittles, and they took all the receipts for my Vodafone bill that I'd been paying. I'd been going into the post office every month and paying my Vodafone bill. They took all the receipts out of the back of the chair, right? But I didn't notice they'd taken all the receipts out of the back until the end of the month, when Vodafone cut my phone off, And I phoned them up to say, okay, how much do I owe? Because I knew I was a couple of days late. So I was expecting them to put a hold on it. All right, how much do I need to pay? Thinking they were going to say like 70 quid, which is what the bill was. And they came back and said, yeah, you owe us £769. And I'm like, you fucking what? You haven't paid your bill for 7 months. Yes, I have. What, like, that? They're trying to. Vodafone was trying to suggest to me that they'd kept my line open for 7 months and allowed me to build up a 7-month bill. But anyway, I said, I was like, no, of course I'll come in every month, and I've spoken to somebody every month and had them reinstate my call. Allow me to make calls again, because you cut my calls. I can't make calls or send messages, but I can receive calls every month for the last 7 months. It's been like that, and I've got okay. Well, if you can just send us the receipts, yeah, sure, no problem. Go out to the car, and as I'm walking out to the car,
But like,
I'm like,
how did that?
oh.
So think about that. Think about how weird that is. Like, so you had the receipts, you'd already paid for it, but somehow they lost record, and all of this weirdness of this person taking candy, shoes, and receipts. Creepy as regardless, just to kind of get back to what I just wanted to explain why this is GiveSendGo thing is up here. Sorry, not trying
I was just getting to that. Yeah,
sorry.
So the equipment was stolen when I got booted out of my apartment illegally, and I took all of my music equipment with me because I had to. I left a bunch of stuff there because I didn't have room for it in the car. So I lost all of the stuff that I had to leave in the house, but my music equipment was in the back of the car. Eventually, after a few weeks, I managed to sort out a room. And as soon as I sorted out the room, I moved all of my equipment into it. And then I was going to be staying there. That was going to be my room. And then like 7 or 6, I don't know how many, a few days later, the guy said, oh shit, no, we've got to get out like tomorrow. So the next day I got everything out again, but I forgot all of the stuff that was in the wardrobe. And I called that afternoon. I was like, oh shit, my laptop. Phoned the guy up and said, my laptop's there. He tried to make out like it wasn't. He tried to make out like I hadn't left it there. But eventually I said to him, all right, I'm coming around with the police then. And I was like, oh no, oh yeah, here it is. So I went around and I picked up my laptop and I was so grateful that that no matter, even though he'd taken all the stickers off, I could see he'd taken all the stickers off. So he knew he had it and he was going to try and sell it. But when he realized he couldn't, he gave it back. So I was just so grateful that he gave it back. But it wasn't until, because I wasn't working at the time, so I didn't need my equipment. But it wasn't until like a couple of weeks later when suddenly I needed my equipment, and it was like, shit, it's not in the car. Where is it? Oh, fuck. It's in that wardrobe, exactly the same place where where my laptop was. Is where my laptop was in with all my stuff, because it was part of my music stuff.
Unfortunate array of events is kind of what it's coming down to.
Yeah, so basically, I mean, I didn't bother going because obviously I used
getting wrapped up with people.
The guy would have said to me,
too,
"Oh
right?
yeah, by the way, you've got all this stuff as well," but he didn't.
Of course not, because the motives were somewhere else right from the get-go. And even trying to rush you out of the house might have been that he had actually gone into your room already and already taken the stuff.
Yeah.
But it sucks that the whole circumstances. So let's just get back to, if we could get $1,000 raised for Richie, and if you know his story, it's a very, sorry, I wasn't trying to go on this whole segue, but I was trying to kind of make it a quick thing. Not to say anything poorly about Richie telling the story there right now, but I wanted to just get at that he is in a situation where he need to kind of get money going and everything again. If he could get some equipment going, he could play live on YouTube like he used to, and we've played some of that before. So with that as well, he's in a situation where he would then also potentially, and working on trying to get him to be able to play in local places around where he's living now. So that is why,
get back to doing what I was doing before. Go back to doing my fucking job that I, bringing in money for for bar owners here on this island, contributing to the GDP of this country.
But at the end of the day, what we would like to do, which is what you'll see is in the details of this, is that we'd like to turn this ultimately into creating the Magic Treehouse, where Richie would be able to play his music on stage for all of us. We'd actually be able to do some cool, possibly measurement of the frequencies to show like the healing elements of what he's doing. He would also be, and we've talked about this, that we both want to work on our healing capabilities, which is what we're training for, the microdosing, but we want to implement all of that and ourselves do the healing work as well. So it's not just dicking around and playing music and like, hey, come live here while we just dick around and play. No, we want to do all kinds of different things. We talked about this is why we had Bernie on the show the other day, because it would be a dream to have some kind of lab and be building hydrogen fuel cells to drive our cool off-road vehicles, because that would be a dream for me. I don't need a lot of technology, but that would be pretty cool. So
yeah.
Anyway, if just wanted to throw that out there, if anybody can or help out or just spread the word, because again, we've talked about a lot of people have known Richie for a long time and have helped out, but anyway, just wanted to throw that out there. What were we gonna now we went down this rabbit hole, what were we gonna talk about though before that? It was like the reason I even brought it up. Oh, because you started talking about music. We were talking about Drive, Incubus, and that would be fun. So he would be able to take requests. Is kind of how, and we would be able to do this live, and then this would all be to raise money for our idea. And then again, if you notice all the designs around, I'm also offering my services to. This is Richie's cool new logo. He actually, this is what I love about Richie. He and I do a lot of like collaborative work together. And so anyway, this is his face. Actually, he put his own face over it. So I created it with the dragon face and then, or not dragon, lion face. And he superimposed it over and it turned out really cool. But
it turned out really weird, didn't it? It's like...
Yeah. And he's also altered the coloring on a couple other ones I've did, which to me really helped with making it pop. But if you've seen some of my other work that I've done, this is, just to give you an idea what it looks like. And I'm offering my services. I'm offering photography prints. If you've ever seen the photo that we have, I'm going to do something real quick where I remove us really fast, Richie, but I'll bring us right back in.
Up in the top, and the top right, that's the logo you done for Bernie.
Yep.
There's the one you done for Auto.
For Cam, I do work with Autodidactic. So if you guys know him, we're super cool because of that. I'm just kidding. Honestly, I'm just letting you know that, that these options are available, and I'm actually working with them to help with getting the word out in that way. This is the overlay kind of idea. So you saw the tree house. So I did this for Bernie, so you get an idea, like all the different ones I can do. And then for photography, you can see that in the background. I'm going to remove both Richie and I really quick, and we're going to come right back in. I'm just going to show you two different photographs. So you can see I could offer prints. So if you wanted to order a print and I could ship it to you, and like I am going to have to charge you for the cost of shipping, I'll keep the price down, but then all that money will go, other than the shipping costs, will go right into the fund. So just wanted to throw that out there, that we're trying to do what little things we can do instead of trying to take advantage of people and say, just give us money. Is there something else? Oh, that's the other thing, is Richie can also offer guidance. Like, this is part of coming into the treehouse. And so if you feel that he's really helped you and you feel like a donation is appropriate, then that's all we're asking. We're not asking for anything more than that.
And if you want to talk, like, so if you want to, what I've found, right, in my life, is that people talk to me, and I don't think that people always know that they want to talk to me, but they come and talk to me, and then at the end of it, I've changed the way they think about things. I've met, that they come away feeling different, feeling better, feeling more powerful, stronger, validated, you know, or just you know, they have a better understanding. So I wondered, you know, what is it that I'm doing? It's like counseling. That's what I've been basically doing with a lot of people, is basically counseling them, listening to what they've got to say, listening to their problems, the things that they're dealing with, whatever, and then talking it through with them, trying to give a different perception of what's going on, different point of view, different perspective, give an objective answer, and play devil's advocate. Like, a lot of the time, play devil's advocate, because there's always two sides to a story. But
Richie
yeah,
and I do that with each other all the time. Like when and it's so productive, and it's not like heated, but we do challenge, like vocally, not passively, but vocally challenge each other. Like, no, I think it might be a little bit more like this, instead of just giving in. And I think that's important, is that we can still do that, and we can still find common ground without getting triggered, and respecting each other, and saying agree to disagree. Right?
Not getting angry with each other. Maybe, you know, there might be frustration. You might get frustrated or whatever because the other person isn't seeing it, and you know, it's like, well, but at the end of the day, it just goes back to perception. It goes back to everybody's unique outlook on life, because we've all got a 100% unique. Not any two people have got the same outlook on life. No two people have got the same perception of exactly what's going on. Might have the same perception of one thing, but all the other, you know, 101 other things that are going on, they differ.
I'm starting to realize that's what's so important. So like when we stop and we start scrutinizing somebody very heavily, I mean, there's times where you're like, and they're being an ass, they're not budging, right? Then yeah, you step away. But there's people like, okay, I definitely don't agree with that. That's ridiculous. Well, take a step back. Is there something you do agree with on them? Try to find that and see if you can't get them to maybe understand why you can't resonate. And maybe there is a point where that will break for them, maybe not, but why not try? And why not, you know, and this is where I do see us being in more separate tribes. But at the end of the day, I think we are way more in tune with each other than we've ever been, probably, and realize.
What we need to do, what we need to try to start doing, or stop doing rather, is cutting each other down. You know, if we don't agree. So last Sunday, the chat room, there was some disparaging comments made, and it's like, well, what's the point? What was the point of that, other than to try and cut the person down or make them feel bad or whatever, just because you didn't agree with that thing that they were talking about, that one thing that they were talking about? Because at the time we were just talking about a specific thing. It's not helpful. It's not helpful to anybody. It's not helpful to our situation to just be constantly picking and knocking people down. And we've all got a common ground, even if the only common ground we have is that we're all slaves right now. Like it or not, we're all slaves. We're slaves to the system. Now, now some of us are conscientiously objecting to being slaves, and we're doing our best not to contribute, but we still are, whether we like it or not. Every single time we go out and buy something in the shop or take part in, you know, we're constantly with our energy, giving our energy to things, you know, giving our attention, our focus, and our energy to different things. We're all slaves to this system right now. That surely that's common ground. We share the same.
We are definitely slowly but surely coming out of that. It's not that we're actively trying to be. It's the whole thing of us understanding the indoctrination of how deep it goes into, like, just the idea of how our life is always supposed to have been structured. And don't get me wrong, I've challenged it too, but there's certain things that I still say where it's like, I've said this before, where I'm in with a group of people and I'm like a group of girls, and because it was like a survival technique for me in the past, all of a sudden I'll be like, oh yeah, what did they say? And then I'm like, oh, what? Ew, like, what did I just do? That's weird. That's not me. I don't want to know. I want to walk away from this conversation. Right. But it's like a weird, almost instinctual, almost animalistic, which is what they make us think that's what powers or overtakes us. And that's where that's really just the harnessing. That's really just the, yin and yang. Right.
It's inside. Yeah, this is the thing. It's inside every one of us. Every single one of us has got the light and the dark. It's just a reality. We've all got some have got more light than dark, and some have got more dark than light. But we've all got light and dark inside us. So we need to. This goes back to the balance, doesn't it? What I'm saying about balance and being
like, what's the best way to live in this sort of free sovereignty that we're talking about with having this balance? Because some of it might entail potentially, and it's hard for me to be the first one to admit this because I immediately like, no, we can do barter and trade. But some of me thinks, well, no, maybe we need to go to gold and silver. That kind of. We do need to have that set up to some extent, but I don't know. I'm not the expert on that. Hence, we're not financial advisors. And this is all part of figuring it out. And this is why we're really enjoying being able to just share this. So share all this information with you and get everyone's opinion.
I like that, Rico. We could be, could we get Richie, what's his name? Richie.
That would be so fun.
It's Richie's son. His name is from Bon Jovi, the guitarist from Bon Jovi.
I forget his name.
Who was?
If you say it, I'll be like, oh yeah.
Like fucking John Bon Jovi can go and suck a dick. This guitarist.
Yeah. He's really. I know. I can't think of his name.
It's Richie Sambora.
Oh, there you go.
Sambora, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So the three Richies.
Oh, that would be awesome, man. I'd love that. But Richie, I miss being in a band. I liked being solo because the best thing about being solo is you get all the money. You don't have to share it at the end of the night, but it also means that you have to set up and pack down as well, all by yourself, which is a pain in the ass. But yeah. I'd love to be. I'd more like to be in a duo, like just either a duet or a trio, a guitarist and a drummer or something, a bass guitarist and a drummer. But I'd love to just work with somebody else. I love working with other musicians, man. I love.
I'll continue to learn the piano, and I can do backup vocals.
Yeah, man, and your guitar. Get your guitar out and start tinkling on that again. Me and Sarah, is a sync for you. Me and Sarah have got the same guitar. We've got the same model guitar, Takamine G500 series. Yours looks a lot nicer than mine.
Because it's not used as heavily because I haven't been as good about it. But you did give me more confidence because I was showing him how when I'm trying to play the notes, I was like, yeah, I just feel like my fingers are. And he was saying like, you really got to work with your hands and stretch it out. So if you guys know, I'm over 30 days no alcohol, and I have had. I need more work to do. I have a little bloating right now, TMI, because it's that time. But I have lost some good amount of weight from that, and I can tell, especially in my fingers, which I used to say, thank you. I had my fat fingers. I used to say. Were like, when I'd press down and then they would kind of take over the note, which there's still some truth to that. But the more and more, you stretch it out and get it. But I also am going to play the piano because I used to play the piano too. And I have played the guitar. It's not that I haven't made it.
But playing the piano is the same as playing the guitar.
Yeah, so that's why I like it.
And when you play the guitar, your fingers need to be coming down on the. So it's just the very end of your finger that's on the string. And when you're playing the piano. my mum used to go nuts at me, like about keeping my hands hard, keeping my hands off
I
the
used to
keyboard.
get that
I
too.
used to play like this.
I know, me too, all the
Play like this,
time.
but you're supposed to play like this, and it's a sort of similar thing with the
I
guitar.
remember that now. My teacher used to yell at me for the same thing.
Rico's a drummer. Nice one.
I know.
Yeah, that's what
So there we
Rico.
go.
That's
We got a
what I
band.
started. That's what I started.
My name's not Richie. Oh, but it's Esra, so maybe we could just see. I don't know. We could do something funny with that. I love it.
So when I was 5.5, my mum started me with piano lessons. Then when I was 6, I asked to play the guitar because I was 6. I was like, I'm going to play the guitar. So mum bought me a classical guitar, and I was in private school. So setting up the lessons was easy. I went to lessons in private school.
Yeah.
And after, I think it was 6 months, my mum got a phone call from the guitar teacher saying, I'm terribly sorry, Mrs. Avery, but I can't teach Richard anymore. I can't teach him. And she was like, oh my God, what's it? And he said, and I'm really sorry to say this, but I have actually hit him. And she said, that's okay. I hit him all the time. And he said, yeah, no, but I hit him with his guitar.
Were you being an ass?
He hit me over my head with the guitar. But
you were being an ass or something?
No, because I wouldn't practice. Because I you know, it's like, have you done your practice?
Well, that's never a reason to hit a child. Jesus.
Obviously, I hadn't practiced. Obviously, I was just playing by ear, and I wasn't, you know. And he just got frustrated, and he said, my mum said to me that he said that I could have been, or your son could be amazing, and you know, absolute.
Just so pissed off.
What's the word? Prodigy, like.
So let me hit him over the head.
Prodigy, but he won't practice. Like he just won't. And so they gave up. And then when I was 11, and I wanted again, and I said, look, I'm bored of the piano. I don't want to play the piano. I want to play the guitar. Mum said, nah, fuck you. You're not playing. I tried that once, not doing that again. So I said, well, I'm not playing the piano anymore. And I quit piano lessons, bought myself a guitar and started teaching myself guitar. And then, to be fair, first year of secondary school, I asked if I could play the drums, and they said, yeah, all right then. And I got drum lessons. So I used to be a drummer as well, like a pianist, guitarist, drummer, singer, musician. Anyway,
well, we now have
long
maracas.
Story for nothing.
We now have maracas, a tin whistle, and tambourines.
Hey, tambourines are they're not as easy as everybody thinks.
I think the tin whistle is where it's at.
Tin whistles are brilliant. They give an Irish. They give like an Irish folky feel to it.
That's what I want to see. I want to see you play it like that.
Anyway,
little fiddle. Yes. Anyway, this might actually be a good time to end because I do need to get going. This is not our usual long ass show.
What time is it?
Don't worry about that. I had that situated.
Ah, right.
Right.
So, we're kind of just waffling on now, so we might as well wrap it up. Thank you very much, everybody.
No, this was good though. We had to say hi to everybody too. Sorry.
We we'll be back. Are we gonna be back tomorrow, as well as Sunday, or just Sunday?
I'm not sure.
On Cam, isn't it?
Oh yeah, we want to do a show with Cam, but have you? I was supposed to send a message, wasn't I? Sorry, yesterday my computer crapped out on me. So anyway, we'll talk about that later. But we've talked about this. Yeah, we want to do a show specifically with Cam. So if we'll reach out to him and we'll let you guys know. We'll get that posted. And we're thinking we'll end up doing it on a Saturday at a slightly different time because his schedule is different. You know, I don't think like our Sunday shows are usually at his time. We've been kind of doing them a little bit later too. So anyway, thank you guys so much. We really appreciate it.
Also, guys, could you help us as well, please? Because, you know, there's people that we want to speak to, and it would just be really helpful if when you get into their chat rooms, you could tell them, you could say, hey, why don't you go on the Wide Awake show? Why don't you go on the Wide Awake show? And so just...
That would be amazing, yeah.
the one person that I've emailed 4 times and still hasn't replied, and I think it's just because he's busy and he's been inundated with emails from people. His channel's exploded and he's doing so much work. I mean, the guy he's done 26 years of work, and that's all evident in the presentations that he does. But he's doing so much work. He's obviously really busy. But Jason Brashears, Archaics, which we really want to get him on the show and talk to him. So anybody that's in his chat room, next time you're in his chat room, every time you're in his chat room, please suggest that maybe he comes on the Wide Awake show, because I think it would be a really good conversation. I know that there's stuff that I want to ask him that nobody else has asked him about. Nobody else has brought up the subjects with him, so I'd like to. But yeah, we could do with your help.
That's the one thing I feel about our show, is that we have sort of a panel to interview with, and we want more of the round table, I think, moving forward, and I hope you all enjoy that and feel that. This is why we like to bring you on as well for roundtable discussions. But that's definitely where we're hoping to go with our style. So you want to see something a little different.
To join now, I know his chat room goes really fast. Even when he slows it down, it goes really fast. So maybe you could email him or something like that.
Yeah,
we just want to somebody have a word, please. Catch his eyes so that he
if you can, whatever you guys can do. And we're gonna bring some other people on. We're in the works of getting that.
Mike Winner and Dr. Berlando. We've got Beth Martins has agreed to come on.
So we'll get that situated. We'll talk about that after. We'll get that situated. So keep your eyes peeled.
And that will be to talk about what we were going to talk about a bit more today, but
we're going to keep talking about this. So this is sort of the highlight of, I think, our conversation. You can kind of come to us for that. Yeah. And hopefully watch as our progress goes. Again, I hope to be expanding this channel a little bit on the health side of things too, and hopefully getting some interviews on that. It's actually, I got it mixed up, but microdosing is going legal this January in Oregon. So it's actually going to be brand spanking new, and this is kind of exciting. So hopefully we can get our foot in the door with talking to some of these people. And I'm excited because I know they have knowledge on it, but to talk to Alpha Vedic about that as well. So look for these interviews coming up. We're going to be trying to do a lot of work, guys.
We'll try and get Amanda Volmer back.
Yes.
Yeah, and there's other people, but I can't think of them off the top of my head. So yeah, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. We'll be back on Sunday. I don't think I doubt we're going to be able to hook anything up with Cam this weekend, so we'll try to do that in the next week or two. But otherwise, yeah, we'll be back on Sunday. It will be a later show on Sunday. What did we say? We're going to do it in the evening.
Not necessarily, but if we were going to do a show, it'll probably be the same time. But when we do a show with Cam, it'll probably be later.
Oh, that was it. If we did, on a Saturday, we'd do it at like 9 o'clock. Yeah. So on Sunday, yeah, it'll be around the same time. It'll be in the afternoon, sometime between 1 and 3 or 1 and 5. I don't know. It depends what time Sarah wants to get up, because this is all basically we can only start early if
I like starting at 9, which is like 3, I think, for you, right? And that actually works really well because it gives me time to go on a walk with my dogs in the morning and like just enjoy my Sunday. So, and then it's like a great way to segue into with all of you. I know that's late for Callum, so of course, Callum, we always appreciate when you can make
Callum's
it on with
us. Callum's a bit of a night owl anyway, don't he?
I know, so it works out really well. That's the thing. But at least once we need to accommodate Australia better. We have some Australians in our Goonie house, and we definitely want to, be considerate, get you all involved. Oh, To Joy Now, you're in Australia too. Cool, awesome.
I'll tell you what, To Joy Now, you're in quite a lot, man. You must.
Yeah, thank you.
Do you ever sleep?
Oh, that's not true. That's not true. I see. Never mind. Anyway, yeah, we're all on, right? We're always on.
I mean, God, a couple of years ago, I'd be up for like 18 hours a day, sat in Discord until 5 o'clock in the morning when I'd fall asleep in Discord, wake up still in Discord, you know, still with people still chatting. It's, yeah. Fuck sleep. You sleep when you're dead.
You must be in the Midwest. I'm in the Pacific, but I'm from Wisconsin. Anyway,
Oh, 11 a.m. Yeah.
Much love, everybody.
Much love,
Stay
guys. Thank you
tuned
very
for
much.
Callum probably on Sunday. You know you want to watch The Wizard. India, thank you. Appreciate you all very much. To join now, you're awesome. Clarice, appreciate you guys. Great commentary today. Input. Brian, you're awesome. One love. Morgan, Goonie, and Shavite, thank
What
you
does
so
that
much.
mean? What does that mean? That was obviously Swedish.
I
What does
know,
that mean,
I was gonna ask, but I was also trying to say hi to everybody too.
Precis
Yeah, tell us
passonda.
what that means. But
Well, you
Alex,
mentioned that I've got VPN. So sometimes I put the VPN in the Netherlands, and that is
oh
just
yeah.
man.
And then you
The
get some
Netherlands
Netherlands.
language,
That's cool.
Dutch language
Cool.
is just like wow.
Oh,
I find it quite amusing.
They often
It's
sound angry too.
Yeah.
Alex, appreciate you. Alex is a Goonie. You saw her. She was on the other day. Check out that stream. Good. I call her the lovely linguistic. I said lizard, remember? And she's like, I love that. You guys are awesome. You and Sherry sometimes have the most hilarious jokes. Sherry, appreciate you. I didn't have her pulled up. There you are. And Andrea, thank you so much for being here. Always appreciate you jumping in when you can. Sherry, awesome. Vanich, yes, thank you for being here.
That's right, mate.
I think, did I say Reverend? Always got to do this. If you guys don't know, I don't know why that started, but Reverend's cool as hell. So thank you. Appreciate you. Yeah, I think I got most of the people that have been in here. I might have to go really far back for everybody. So I'm sorry if I missed anybody. I'm going to pull down to the end here. But again, super appreciate you guys. Lizard, yes. Lingo Bikes, thank you for being here. I hope you did enjoy that. Come back. There's lots of talk. If you want to talk about anything, if you guys want to join us on our round table, we do ask to see your face at some point. But
you don't have. It doesn't have to be to come on
to
actually
talk
on the screen to talk. You can do that incognito if you like, but backstage we want to see your face.
Exactly.
Sorry if that, that's just that's the thing as well. I wanted to mention this earlier about I understand that some people want to protect their identity for reasons, they might lose their job and stuff, but it's kind of that's understandable in the public, but when you still want to hide your face in more private situations, I think we're past that now. Everybody needs to own it, man. Own it.
I mean, I'll show you really weird stuff on my body if we got to go there to get you to show your face. But
don't get me
I won't do that live, and I'm not showing I'm not talking like private parts. We don't get okay. I'm just saying if you
my scars, if you want.
Yeah, you want to see my belly button? I mean, I'm just saying. We don't give a shit, so please feel like you can be ourselves with you. I see, oh my gosh, I think everybody's really uniquely beautiful. I'm so attracted to so many people because I think people are just so unique, and I think in that in itself is amazing. And then did you just see that? I just put my hand up and she just walked by. Oh,
I know Sarah's not suggesting that she's sexually attracted to everyody. She's just saying attraction it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be that. It's it's just people, man.
Yes,
nice
I'm
people.
not. I'm not ready to hump anything and everything I see. That's for sure. I'm more of whatever. I don't even like to use these words, but what do they call it? What is it? A dema? Shit, now I'm forgetting it. the one where it's like you have to have an intimate connection to like be able to get off, like to be able to, you have to like have a really strong, you know, intellectual connection with somebody to like get into the moment, that kind of a thing, to be able to, yeah, that's, I have to have that. So we're,
I don't have to, it doesn't have to be spiritual. It doesn't have to be intellectual for me, but certainly spiritually at least.
yeah, like a spiritual intellectual thing. Yeah.
Some sort of connection in it. But anyway, listen, we're going to stop waffling. Thank you very much, guys. We love you loads, and we will
Good way
see
to end,
you
right?
on Sunday.
Vanilla.
Take it easy.
Bye.
In this life in the, what do you think you've learned?
Absolutely nothing. Well, I've tried to learn, but I'll calculate not a lot really. I've learned that you must treat people properly, and that you must proceed in a certain way, and you must try and have a vibe of how to sort of enjoy situations. So I've learned just to, you know, don't get miserable or fight the misery with some intelligence. This is like the most difficult area of the whole malarkey, really. It's how to turn something around when it's going. And it's not something that you can learn by well, as far as I know, I can see, it's something that comes to you with a bit of luck and a bit of instinct, yeah? But therefore, it's not something you can ever bank on. I'm not smart enough to figure out what the hell it is or how it works at all, you know? That's why I treat it like voodoo, 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 voodoo. I do find I still have a talent to like cause a bit of, stir up a little bit of confusion, yeah? But I'll do what I can to create as much chaos as I possibly can. But my chaos is always well-natured, or has a positive goal at the end of it. Like when I start causing chaos in a situation, it's because the situation really needed to be changed, for example, or something is going to happen that I've thought would be a good idea. And 9 times out of 10 I'm on it, I must say. Hopefully that hasn't unjinxed, that hasn't unjinxed, that hasn't unjinxed, that hasn't unjinxed, that hasn't unjinxed.